Okay, guys, we are live, and apparently we have been live for a couple seconds here, and I've been staring like an idiot at the screen because I had a bit of a delay on my OBS. So welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly Dungeon Master this evening. Tonight, we are continuing on with Session 9 of our ongoing campaign playing Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition. And with me tonight are the stars of our Night Below campaign. I'll go in the order I've got you guys on the screen here, and you can tell us who you are and who you're playing. First up is George.
Oh, hey, I'm George. I'm playing Knox, the Unexpected, who is a human invoker. He is kind of a reckless guy who believes in signs and portents, which is what let him hook up with Elanion, who has some background in omens and that sort of thing.
Nice. And next up is Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I'm playing Calidor. He is a elven fighter thief, but maybe more of a dancer than a fighter.
Interesting. And next up is Arlen.
Hi, I'm Arlen. I'm playing Bergour, the dwarf fighter. He doesn't have... Well, he's got a magic shield and some heavy armor, so I think he's got to be the front line for our party tonight.
Awesome.
Anytime I hear the word magic shield, does anyone else get the fuck Spiel magic helmet? Spiel magic helmet! In there.
Now I will.
And last but not least is Hobbs.
Hey everybody, I am Jason Hobbs, and I am playing Elanion Elandin, the Elven Earth Elementalist.
Wait a minute. Are you the Jason Hobbs of paintball fame?
Why do you ask?
Oh boy. No, so for those who enjoy the dulcet tones of our Mr. Hobbs tonight, be sure to check out the Hobbs and Friends podcast. The what the hell's the other one called?
Random Screed.
Random Screed podcast. And you can also hear the dulcet tones of Arlen's voice on the Cows from Powys? No, the Live from Pelham's Wasteland podcast too. Good of you guys to give the most fucking complicated names for your podcast too. Welcome to the #2653 Arlen podcast.
I'm going to name mine that just to mess with everybody.
Anyway, but tonight we are here to carry on with our ongoing AD&D campaign. So last session was the belated homage to a cinematic titan, a true classic of monster fiction. That would, of course, be the, the 1990 masterpiece, Tremors. So last session, we had a Tremors homage to celebrate belatedly the 30th anniversary of the release of Tremors, and our brave heroes fought what may be the most terrifying creature they've fought so far. What happened last session, guys? I guess Arlen and Jeff, you guys are the only ones who were here.
So we had found an abandoned farmhouse in the mire, right? And we some of us went inside to look around and see what was going on, and some of us were outside to sort of stand overwatch. And then eventually all of us except the dog ended up inside, having kind of looked around and stuff. And then we heard yelping from the dog. And if you can believe it, there were monsters, kind of lamprey-like things.
Yep.
In the swamp that attacked and killed the dog and then attacked us. Calidor went down to -3, I want to say.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think it was -4 because he was getting -10 is when you die.
Yeah.
But he was
Calidor went into the negative hit points.
Mm-hmm.
Very low.
Nobody else actually went down, but we had a pretty touch and go fight against the lampreys that eventually we finished them off and then hid out in the farmhouse, and then the next morning made a mad dash to get back to the farmland, and now we're back in not mire territory, and we're fixing to go back into the mire again.
And what's the current objective?
We have been contracted by Lord Carmen, who's in charge in Milbourne, to go to this place, the New Mire, which has started spreading out mireness in like, the last 2 years. Basically, it didn't exist, and then now it's this huge flooded thing. And so we're there to try to figure out what's going on. And we've been contracted to spend 2 weeks in the mire figuring out what's going on. If we can solve the problem, we get a lot of gold. If we don't, we get some gold.
Yeah, if they can identify the problem, it's 50 GP, I think. And if they can resolve the problem, it's 1,000.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So this mire wasn't here like.
No,
2
2 years ago. This was, you see where, so the hash or the cross hatching stuff there. That's it's not cross hatching, but I can't remember what that technique is called. The whatever it is, the hatching shit there. That is farmland, and it was farmland basically all the way up to where Cutter Brook runs into the Patchwork Hills. But over the past 2 years, it's flooded out these farms that have been here for like 2 centuries. So the what that means is that Lord Carmen's effectively lost like a quarter of his arable land to this spreading mire. And if it carries on at the rate it is, in another year they'll lose the road.
Okay.
Were the lampreys big enough to have caused the mire? Yes. Like by digging around underground, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe they brought water into this area.
Right.
Because I didn't play in the session, but a few days before the session, I was like, oh, wait, he's talking about doing tremors. What if the tremor beasts are causing the mire?
That would be a pretty good coincidence for Carl Sargent to have written that 30 years ago.
I don't think the lampreys were causing the mire, but if they were, then hopefully we will find some sign of that.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Otherwise, it seems more likely that we will find other signs of the cause of the mire.
Yeah, so you have no clues at this point.
You know, speaking of happy coincidence, I just checked the publication date. It's actually 25 years ago. I should really rebrand this as a silver anniversary session.
Totally.
I just need to go in and do some like shitty redubbing on something. Welcome to the silver anniversary session. Okay, so what are you guys doing to? So where we left things was with you guys having reached at the beginning of the. Let's see here, traveling the mire. I think it's the 17th right now of Flock Time. Let me make one quick roll here.
Oh, that's always good.
Kev, are you rolling weather again? No. Okay. It's funny because I went through all. I've got it may not surprise you to learn. I've got a whole bunch of different products that are dealing with like wilderness survival some for 5e, some for OSR stuff, and the one from Low Fantasy Gaming by Pickpocket Press remains my favorite in terms of.
Is that a separate book from the rule book?
No, it's in the Low Fantasy Gaming rule book has. Even if you never run the game as is, there are a shit ton of really useful random tables that are in it too. So, and it's free. You can get the PDF version of it for free as well too. Or at least
I do. I have it. I just haven't had a chance to look through it.
It's pretty awesome.
Awesome. Cool.
And all I'm hearing is, Kev, you need to run Low Fantasy Gaming again. Well, I have been known to chase impulses, so.
If you do want to play Low Fantasy Gaming.
Oh yeah, that's right. Hobbs runs an open table session of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're all welcome.
So
and
here's what happens, guys. Is let's see here. The day starts off with it's been even windier, even the rain has continued on, so it's almost going like on a 45-degree angle at you for this day's travel. What? Oh, and I guess for those listening at home too, you may, if this is your first time in our session, we have a rotating cast of this. The way we run the open table is just whatever characters are there, those are the whatever players are there, those are the characters in the spotlight. We're not really concerned about continuity of explaining why there's absences, because That's not the game. The game is the exploration and the adventure and me trying to kill player characters. So,
More importantly.
yeah, a little bit. So, then traveling one upside to traveling through the farmland as opposed to traveling through the marshes is you guys can make some much better distance, much better speed. We have.
Where we were going.
See,
We could get there faster.
yes.
Right.
Where are you're just heading along the northern, I guess, edge of the new mire. What Sorry guys, I'm trying to find where is my other sheet? There we go.
I feel kind of bad for you guys because I convinced you that we needed to go into the mire and check out a farmhouse, and then I wasn't even there for the session. Jeff almost got killed.
Right.
Calidor.
Why send a canary in the coal mine when you can send the whole party except for you?
That's right.
Not gonna make it, I guess. Sorry about that.
All right, so it's effectively on through the farmlands here. You guys will be traveling about 12 miles a day. So it works out to, I believe it's like 14 inches if you're measuring.
Well, we're not. So
Or 14 feet.
we're going along the edge of the new mire, but then once we reach the Patchwork Hills, we're going to try to follow the seam. Basically,
Got it.
is what that's what we agreed on. I know George wasn't here, but everybody else.
I mean, if he's Knox is a reckless guy, so he's gonna go along with whatever makes sense, and he's a weak guy. So if the big, if Calidor and Bergour are going somewhere, he's gonna follow.
Okay.
So that's not good. But did you have a specific objective in mind, or something you were going to?
So the idea is to get into about where the new mire kind of starts, about here with Cutter Brook, and then probably advance up along the course of the brook to wherever its source is in the Patchwork Hills.
Okay, cool.
In the hills, just to give you a context, for your hills, your speed is obviously going to slow fairly substantially. So let's see how far it is to get to there. Are you doing are you still making an effort to talk to farmers as you're going along, or are you more concerned about getting to the edge of the Patchwork Hills and then kind of following the edge of the mire along?
I think we've heard everything we're gonna get from the farmers. What do you guys think?
What if there's something closer to the hills that someone has heard? If that's where it started, I don't know.
The reason I ask is because it will. If you're stopping to kind of chat, I'll slow your movement to account for kind of the chit-chatty stuff.
How many days have we been here so far?
So far, you have been on the road for. You set out from. Yeah, on the 14th. 14th is when you set out. You are on your 4th day of 14 days that you have.
I don't know if you guys went over the rumors that we had originally heard about the Patchwork Hills, but if you haven't, I can read them.
Why don't you refresh our memory? Let's see.
Yeah, so there's just a couple of things. Low hills with excavated agricultural terraces on the north side. Cutter Brook rises from the western hills. Again, there are a few reports of humanoids or monsters of any kind here. And then someone we spoke to said, they do say as how them goblin and orc critters wipe themselves out in the big battle before I was knee-high to a grasshopper like. Leastways, that's what they say. So, there's some kind of humanoid potentially.
Oh, you, George, because you actually missed quite a few sessions. There's been some other local either news or rumors you guys have heard as well. Do you guys remember what those rumors and whatnot were?
Knolls, right?
Knolls in the Southern Hills, definitely.
Yep.
Was there an orc band too, or am I just making that up? I don't remember.
The orcs, you guys encountered them in the Thornwood Forest.
Okay.
Let's just zoom out for a memento here. Okay, so what you guys have? Let's just go. You know what? Why don't we do this, guys? Oh, let me first go to my thing here. Let's do a quick, not State of the Union, but a quick refresher of where we are here. There we go. So in the Thornwood Forest is where you guys encountered those orcs. With the shattered. Oh, I think I got a handout for you guys as well, don't we? Oop, what are we doing here? Come on. There you go. Where was it? Handouts. Probably in the handouts tab. Hey. This was the sigil that you guys found on the shields, apart from the magic shield that Bergour later retrieved. It was a sigil that was unknown to the rangers, the rangers that you met, to both. What's his name?
Kuiper and Geralt.
Kuiper, yes, and Geralt. Yeah, neither of them had any idea who those, what tribe that was. It was not one of the ones they knew from the Great Rock Dale. You guys also found that coming from the Great Rock Dale, there were goblins that you encountered on the trip back as well too. These yellow-skinned goblins, and they seemed very underfed. And you heard rumors from the farmers living up and down the Churnet River that the goblins had been, or some goblins at least, had been seen there. What do you remember about the? Do you remember any insight you got from everyone about the fact that you were like what may have caused the goblins to be out there?
I think our general consensus was some sort of disturbance within the Great Rock Dale, that like different parties vying for power might have pushed out some of the goblins.
Yeah. You have also, let's see here, since heard rumors from the farmers of some strange-looking birds flying over the Patchwork Hills as well. And I think you guys actually saw, one of you guys spotted a strange, large bird flying along as well. You didn't get a clear enough view of it to get an accurate description of it, but also because it seems like it's been raining every single day. Because this is the, what do you call it, Heronshire equivalent of Tule's snow. And that, I believe, is that... Oh, and you did find something else at the farmhouse, the abandoned farmhouse, apart from lampreys. Do you remember what that was?
We found that goblins had been there.
Yes.
That's right.
And that's not a normal thing to happen?
In the Patchwork Hills?
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Like
No.
it sounds like... Okay.
The
Since
humanoids...
the goblin orcs killed themselves some time ago, I thought. Anyway, go ahead.
Thanks.
In the rumors, you mean, Hobbs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you also heard about a place called the Gleaming Glade up in the Hardlow Woods, too. When you guys were... I don't remember why you were asking about that, but didn't old Grizzler tell you about that?
Yeah, he told us about the special, because we were asking about the symbols, the maker's marks that are on the swords and on the shield.
Right.
And the sort of theory was that it had something to do with an expedition by Lord Parlfrey's ancestor who went to clear out like a necromancer in the Hardlow Woods.
Yeah.
And now there's a glade where the fallen paladins their stuff is lying there, and so the theory is that that's where the shield and the swords came from.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the orcs that were found in the Thornwood down here, they were wielding two weapons, two silvered long swords and a magical shield that had the maker's mark of one of Lord Palfrey. Palfrey's keep his way over here. One of his it likely relates to one of his ancestors, because the maker's marks, to sort of speak to the lineage of the craftsmen, they incorporate aspects and elements of their masters, and then so on and whatnot. So this it's a predecessor of what the current, blacksmith or the craftsman who works for Lord Palfrey and his family. So anyway, that is the sort of bigger picture of what's going on. But right now, you guys, and you still haven't found. You did find as well too. There were more disappearances too. Do you remember what that was, guys?
Somebody was smart and wrote it down.
John, he's not here.
Right.
Priest of Farlon, a wizard on the way from Thurmaster to Millbourne, an elf warrior spellcaster, and another priest. No and then we haven't had any information from the Rangers or their ally Serene.
Well, 2 of those as well, too, I should say. Number 2 of those were from, it was rumors you heard about adventuring groups up in Eastdale, way north here.
Yep.
Beyond the High Moor. Okay. So that is the sort of bigger picture, George. That'll bring you up to speed as to where
thank you.
what things are kind of going on. It's helpful for all of us to sort of resituate ourselves after spending, 2 hours fighting lampreys. So, what sick DM designed that encounter? Jesus. So then, you guys, let's get back to what you guys are doing. Are you still talking to farmers as you go, or are you more interested in just getting to the hills and then start trying to hike your way along?
I mean, it sounds like Bergour feels like we learned everything there is to know.
Yeah, we've talked to some of the farmers, and they didn't really know anything about what is going on, what happened, and they're pretty far from the source anyway by now, right? Like,
Right.
the New Mire has spread out a long way.
I'll be right. Keep talking. I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah.
If anybody was to know anything, it seems like it would be the farmers that have already been removed by the mire.
Yeah.
Right. And we've got a limited time as well. So.
And we've got a limited time, so it seems to me that we press on, try to make as best time as we can.
And it's only miles, maybe, anyway.
Right.
So 1/6 of the day.
Yeah, it's
right.
not too far.
Right. And how is Calidor doing in terms of his wounds?
I think he's got a slight injury. He's got 1 point missing right now.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
mostly recovered, yeah.
Great.
But he's a little nervous about everything that's going on around here.
What?
As a result of that, or
Yeah, well, that's why
Yeah.
I was making the joke that he's more of a dancer than a fighter, because
Oh.
fighting hasn't been going so well for him.
right? You should try dancing instead of fighting when the next combat starts.
Yeah.
He has-
Okay.
That's why. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Well, how did you guys know there were goblins in that farmhouse?
So
Found one outside.
yeah, Calidor found a goblin body outside that looked like it may have been drained.
Like
by
drained of blood.
lampreys, and then we
Oh.
also found like a pile of goblin feces upstairs, like they were
Yes.
marking it as their territory.
I'm not the only GM that uses it. Love it. Who knew it was
I believe there was a
not
TM Hobbs
Right.
little stamp in the poop
Oh,
pile.
Nice.
So that is where we currently find ourselves. Is
Sorry,
traveling
we're
along.
hightailing-
So,
Sorry.
sorry, guys. Yeah,
We're hightailing it, Kevin, to the hills, and then we're
Do you want to have a basic marching order?
into the cleft.
let's quickly. Or we'll come back to this in a second here. Let's go to the battle mat.
Oh boy.
And where'd I put you guys? Boom. Put you right here. There you go, guys. Boom. There we go. Now, assuming you're walking through farmland, I think you could probably camp. Oh, Calidor, do you remember if you healed by 1 for sleeping last night?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
You are okay. So you're at the current
I'm
health.
at
Okay.
4, yeah.
So, you guys go ahead and situate yourselves where you like. We got 2 clothies, and we've got a fighter or a fighter rogue or fighter thief, and a fighter.
And which direction are we heading on this map?
Heading to the left, or to your
Right on the screen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're headed
Okay.
east.
Yes, east.
Calidor is walking with his sword out,
Yeah.
like drawn, and
Yeah.
Does
I'm
he?
not very impressed.
Does he seem? Does Calidor seem anxious at all, or is this just sort of he's just being
More.
prepared?
Yeah, just being prepared. Maybe a
Okay.
little shaken, but
Okay. Well, then I'm going to cast an armor spell at the start of the day, which is nice in this edition because it lasts until it is used up.
Yeah, so
Not
what we've been,
restoration.
because your character has been absent and there has been several days of travel, I'm okay with what we said last time with Hobbs, is that we assume he had cast it at some point, and since he hasn't been in combat, it's just active right now. So
Awesome,
if you'd
that's
like to
fantastic.
prepare something different, you're free to do that.
Yes, I'm going to do that. That's fantastic. Thank you. That'll be helpful.
That's for what good it'll do you.
Yeah, I got my little card so I can very quickly
Love
swap
it.
out what I got. Yeah.
Love it. Oh, jeez. Okay, so that's the order then, guys. We got Elanion.
I don't know. So we're heading to the east on this map, right? So
Correct.
do Caldor and Bergour want to be more in the front line? Knox is wondering.
Everything seems to attack us from the swamp so far.
Oh, I see. So maybe it's better to travel.
Well, and
this-
Elanion is the one who has. Don't you have like tracking and stuff?
Yes.
So it seems
Okay.
like if we find
And
anything,
survival, and he's very kind of woodsy.
yeah, if we find anything that we want Elanion up front to be able to,
Okay,
follow it.
I'm good with this arrangement then.
Galador, you can step back if you want. I'm happy to be the front line.
What? Well, I thought we were going to the right.
We're
Yeah,
going to the right, but the swamp is on our right.
Yeah.
So-
Well, where else would I stand?
Well, you could stand like right here with me in the way. Is
No,
what
I'm
saying.
fine right beside you. I got my sword aimed right at the swamp.
All right.
Nice.
Fantastic.
I feel like
Okay.
tight. Maybe you should screw up a little more, Bergour.
Am I a little quiet?
Tight. Our group is too tight. We should spread out a little. Like
Corners,
yeah.
watch those
Oh.
corners.
Yeah.
that's good.
So you know, if there's a weapon of mass destruction at us,
Right. Okay.
that'll help us survive 5 feet farther.
Okay.
It makes all the difference.
Yes. All right. So you guys, you can picture that the way the farms look, guys. Let's refresh our memories here. Look very much like the farms that were on the banks of the Turnit River. So this is sort of what we are seeing. These the types of farms that you're passing and that you're seeing work here. These are the kinds of farms that have been built up over a span of many generations. As I said, this land has been worked for. In a lot of the cases, it'll be 200 years. Some of the original settlers who came to Heronshire, at least the human settlers, they have been working these farmlands for 8 generations going back. So it is. There's a lot. There's this sort of built structures and expanded farmhouse and stuff like that you would expect with having had that length of time. Let me move us back to the map here. I'll move over here. So you guys make your way along here as well. And it was about 2.5 miles. You're traveling 12 throughout the day, which means prorates to about that's about an hour and a half or so, hour and 45 minutes of travel, going along until you finally actually hit the Patchwork Hills. Actually, it'll be a little bit longer because you do take stops. Basically, every 2 hours you stop and you have to kind of catch your breath, have a little break and whatnot, and then you kind of carry on as well. So I think as you guys get closer to the Patchwork Hills, you're seeing them getting a little larger and larger. And as the day goes on, the rain begins to peter off a little bit, and the temperature begins to rise. So let me get this down a little bit here. Let's see how the Majestic Hills sound is. Does this sound like Majestic Hills?
Sounds like a church.
It really does.
It's the bells, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what hills should sound like, honestly.
See.
This makes me nervous.
That's there you go.
I feel a little anxious.
Nice.
Yeah.
A little anxiety inducing. There we go.
Mhm.
So you guys reach the first evidence of the Patchwork Hills, and let's quickly take a moment to refresh our memories of what this is. Elanion stops everyone, and you tell them that, all right, everyone, catch a break, get some water. It's going to be harder going when we start making our way into the hills. And it seems like the the mire itself has basically any land that is flat and I guess and isn't on some kind of angle is basically flooded. So the mire is right up until the hills. You're going to be making your way along either through the wet foot of each of these hills, or you're going to have to try and figure a way up. You could go this, like, one way to not be constantly walking with one leg higher than the other would be to go to the top of each hill and go up and down. That's going to be difficult going, but there's not really an easy path along here. And apart from Bergour, I don't think anyone bothered to spring for really nice boots.
No.
So you are wet. Oh yeah, Knox, we're gonna have to go back and kind of prorate some money out of your inventory because you're gonna have to get some rations.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've got some cash. So.
But there's a lot of, if you check the party loot.
Oh yeah, how many
Handout. There's a lot of loot available for you to buy rations from.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Okay, well, and I have some starting cash that I can use for now without going and looking.
Well, you should go ahead and take your share of the party loot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that we know.
Yeah, and you don't get XP for the loot that's secured when you're not here, but you do get the actual loot.
Where are we tracking the loot? Is it? Do we have
think
the
There's a handout
notes? Yeah, okay, I'll find it.
with notes.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, where is it? Orc Slayer's party mission log, or is it? Oh, party loot. There's actually one
Party
of those.
loot. Yeah.
Look at that.
The mission log.
How would I know what that's about?
Yeah, you guys have named it so
Party
cleverly. Okay, so then the Patchwork Hills. The Patchwork Hills are so called because their appearance in the fall is mottled and patchy, not unlike a irregular patchwork quilt. Heather and bracken coat the hillsides, and the grazing is poor. The bracken is virtually inedible. The weather's good, and the prevailing wind from the north in mid-fall, hillsmen burn away the vegetation here to protect the terraces from encroachment. One thing that, I'm not sure if, Hobbs, I think you were here to hear about this, but just north of Harleton, and about a mile in, there are these, like, terraced farms. Basically, if you can picture, like, rice paddies on a mountainside, that's what's been built into the northern tip of the Patchwork Hills, right around Harleton. And yes, so once you finish up your snack, you guys head out into the hills. What's the strategy here, guys? Are you going to go up and down the hills? Or are you going to kind of go along the bottom there? I guess one thing that would be obvious to you, Elanion, is that the apex of each of these hills certainly gives you a much better vantage point from which to see things than skulking around the very base of them.
And be seen.
And be seen, correct. There's that too.
I almost feel like maybe we should go, a quarter mile into the hills and get away from the mire for a while and go around the bottom, but like at lunch and maybe at morning, lunch, and night, send someone to the top of the hill sneakily. I will do it and have a look around and then just travel as much as we can at the bottom.
Calidor is actually sneakier than you.
Well, good.
As well, too.
I didn't really want to. I just said I would.
Yeah, sure.
We can go together if you would like.
No.
Because, that probably makes it less sneaky for you.
Sure. So you get to, and that sounds good to you guys. You're going to make your way in a little bit and then stick to near the bottom of the hills, winding along, and then kind of a couple of hours later, you'll check the top and then head back down again.
Yeah, it seems about right. My only concern would be that we want to be really thorough about our navigation, because we don't want to accidentally be, following the base of the hills around and get off of our path. It's really easy when walking in hills to just do like water and follow the downhill route all the way and get off of the path that you expected.
Yep.
Right.
Are you telling me?
Are we?
Go ahead.
Are we spending time also just sort of in looking at the mire and seeing if we notice anything out of the ordinary as we go?
We can't see it probably. That's why I think I was saying.
I see.
Pick
To go
time
up to the top.
and then
Yeah.
look, because otherwise it would. I mean, I think it's too dangerous.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Okay, that sounds like a good idea though. Then we'll get a sense as we're going, but just when it makes sense to climb a hill.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe even once we get closer to Cutter Brook, we can take a day to go investigate the mire around that area.
Okay.
Cool. Sounds good.
Okay. So let's see here. So what I'm going to roll for your days leaving in. Anyone have a navigation proficiency?
I have direction sense. If it comes into play.
I'll give you a little bit of modifier for that. What's your chance with or your proficiency with direction sense?
It's a 12.
It's 12.
I have a 15 direction sense.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Survival, tracking, hunting.
Okay. Anybody got navigation?
No.
No.
Navigation.
I'm
No.
pretty sure it's only on boats.
Okay. I think.
We can check. I will
Yeah,
check.
sure.
Why don't
Let's
I
do
was
it.
really
you guys
kidding.
do the thing?
I was cheating. But I'll take it if that's what it is.
I was learning the art of navigating by the stars, studying the currents, and watching for telltale signs of land, reefs, and hidden danger. This is not particularly useful on land. There you go. At sea,
Okay.
successful proficiency check by the navigator reduces the chance of getting lost by 20%. Pretty cool.
That's significant.
How about survival? I wonder if survival is the one that helps you there.
It might be.
But it's got to be with a specific environment.
Between direction sense and survival, I think that would help. But
So I think we've
Yeah,
got a new
direction
house rule
sense
we're going
is
to incorporate,
definitely
guys.
on land.
Because survival is, you're not really getting a huge, you're not gaining levels in a very quick way here. You're spending a lot of downtime to relearn it. I'm going to say that survival applies to everywhere. It's just one of those skills where, like, it seems crazy to be like, in this particular environment, you guys would have at least, what, like 4 different survival skills you'd have to take to have a chance of covering all that stuff?
Yeah, it's true.
either
So
that,
direction sense says when traveling in the wilderness, a character with direction sense has the chance of becoming lost reduced by 5%.
Oh, there we go. Brilliant. Okay.
5%. That doesn't seem
5%.
If the
is
check
what it
fails,
says.
but is less than 20, the air by 90 degrees. Huh, interesting. Okay. And, all right, then, let's see here. Let me see. So the chance of getting lost here. And why would I want you to get lost? I don't know. Okay, so 40%.
Is it? I have a question.
Of course.
Is it possible for Knox to like give advice to Elanion, or is it just straight Elanion's role? Since there's 2 of them, is it possible for him to?
Since there's 2 of them, actually, you bring up something that I think is interesting, and I'm curious to have your input on this. So, one of the things I've got my first session of Modern Age RPG on Sunday. So I've been reading the game over and over again to get ready. It has my favorite group task rules of any game I've ever read, because it cleverly makes the distinction between force multiplier, people doing the task, like 3 guys getting behind a car to push it, as opposed to 1 getting behind to push it, and insight, where it's just like, well, someone might help you with that. And the way they model it is there's a mechanic called a stunt dice, and then it contributes towards successfully completing tasks. On a force multiplier, you add all of them together. On a insight one, you just take the highest. So I think the way I'd roll this is the same way we did the strength checks in Ash last time. It's effectively advantage. You both get to roll. You get the benefit of the best roll. Okay, because that'll reflect the insight you're bringing. Is whoever rolls best, that's the one that will go. What I'm looking for insight is, how do we do the force multiplier thing? I don't know where. Like, I don't know what this is not one of the force multiplier situations, but if you
Yeah. So that's a good question.
yeah, instead of just having everyone roll and taking the best,
Wouldn't you just add them, just like you said that they do in the other game?
But I think the way that works in that game is because it's effectively like skill challenges, where you're going to try and accumulate a certain number of points on the stunt die over the course of your iterative rolls, and then each iteration has a certain length of time in it. So go ahead, Austin.
you need so many successes, right?
Yeah.
Under your strength check in order to make sure that they did the best chance that they could do with their strength.
I'll buy that. Yep, and then it'll be so. Well, it's
Yeah.
effectively incorporating kind of like a skill challenge into this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I buy that. Okay, that sounds good to me, guys. Then I'll add that to the house rules as well. Okay, so then let's have each of you guys go ahead and each make your direction sense roll.
Okay.
I'll let you guys roll to take the blame. I mean credit. Okay, so we got
Nope.
fail from old
Yes, I
Knoxy
won.
Knox and a success from. Oh, was that a success for you? 15.
Natural 1. I rolled a natural 1. my
Nat
roll.
1.
Nice.
Nat 1, baby. Awesome. Okay. I actually give you double, so I'll give you because of direction sense and because you're careful planning, I'll give you a total of 15% bonus.
Cool.
And it is raining, unfortunately. So, yeah, there's that. Okay, let's see here. John told me my poker face needs work, so.
Oh, boy.
If it didn't freak out the dog, I put on my Joker mask. But it really freaks the fuck out of the dog.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the like severed face stapled back on mask too from Scott Snyder's run. So.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Anyway, all right. So you guys start making your way off through this. You're carefully navigating your way along, and then after a couple of hours, you stop. You make your way to the top of the hill, and you look out. Is it Calidor or Elanion going to the top here?
Calidor was going to go up.
Calidor. Fortunately, it is the what do you call it? The rain has petered off at this point too. But boy, is it hot! Not to the point where you guys are uncomfortable, but I mean, it is. You know, it's probably about. So, guys, I took the time today to look up Fahrenheit just for you guys.
Nice.
Your crazy, fucking anachronistic temperature scale.
It's fair.
Yeah. So what it is it is about 75 degrees right now. So it's about Jeff about 21 Celsius.
Okay.
So it's
Is that normal for this time of year here?
it's summertime. Yeah. That's
Okay.
and this is about the peak of like comfort level. If it got a little hotter, you know, and I think even with the way you guys are. Like with the amount of stuff that you're carrying, no one is encumbered. None of you four guys, none of you are encumbered, right?
Nope. No.
Okay. Then I think you're okay. Oh, you're okay up to 80. When it hits to 80 degrees, that's when you start taking con penalties.
You can tell that the guys who wrote this game are from the north because I don't think 80 is hot.
You're right.
It's all relative.
It'd be hot in armor and carrying stuff. While you
Yeah.
Well, carrying stuff, even then, it wouldn't be that bad.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, 80? No.
75.
The penalty to con is minimal compared to what it gets up to.
Yeah.
Like it
no,
gets,
I know.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
What? Yeah, and I mean, it's just not. Well, anyway, I mean, this is going to all be relative wherever you live, right?
Sure.
I mean, you guys think that you know, minus 40 is cold, whereas here we feel that you know, come on, beach weather. No. So when I think what happens is you guys are about. It's a little past noon. It's still scattered clouds overhead, but the sun itself is getting a little close to the apex. Calidor, what is your stealth check?
Okay, my stealth is. Wait, hide and
It's
shadows?
the hide and shadows. Yeah, please.
Yeah, 35%.
35%. Okay.
Wait, no, sorry. The total is 50%. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong column.
Pretty awesome. Wow.
That's the base.
Okay, so Calidor, you make your way scampering up the side of the hill here, and for the rest of you guys, he fucking disappears. I'm not sure that Calidor really has had an opportunity to really shine with this his thief skills thus far, but it's
Not really, no.
it is it is shocking how as soon as he gets a couple feet away from the party and kind of starts making his way along the taking advantage of the little like rocks and boulders and so forth, you just lose track of him altogether. I'm
I
assuming
always knew he was light on his feet, but that's impressive.
there you go. So you make your way to the very top of the hills, Calidor. And what you find when you were expecting to be looking out, really just over to where the new mire is, you can see the new mire.
Yeah.
It's quite a ways off. You are surrounded by, you've unfortunately made your way fairly deep into the actual Patchwork Hills.
Oh.
Yeah. It's as you say, you're trying to follow the easy way around the side of the stuff, and whoever's, I think Elanion's leading you we'll just go left one more time. Okay, we'll just go left one more time, has led you to be a lot further and deeper into the hills than what you had expected. What you also see is about, maybe about a mile, half mile, I suppose, to the south. On the side of one of these hills, there is something almost all white, or at least some color. It looks like there's a bird that has fallen to the ground.
That's interesting.
And where it's next to, it catches your eye just because the rest of the hill is this, dark, brown or dark green kind of thicket of overgrowth. This thing is there, and then there is a bit of it looks like a pool or a depression of some kind with water in it. Maybe something that accumulated from the rain. That would be probably about maybe a 45-minute travel to get there by going down the hill and then up the hill again.
Right. Okay. Does this pool look interesting and worth examining, or it's really hard to tell from this distance?
It's hard to tell. Would you give me a wisdom check, please?
Okay, wisdom. 14.
Yeah. 14's pretty good. And that roll's pretty good.
Nice.
So, there's something weird about that bird when you're looking at it, and two things, I guess, stand out. For one, the bird kind of twitches and moves a little bit, and it's because of your keen elven eyesight that you're able to really make this out. You can picture you've narrowed your eyes and you're looking way off in there too. Still a little bit of haziness in the air because of the falling rain and the moisture. But the other thing is as one of the wings kind of flaps, you can see there is an arm seeming to stick out from underneath it. And it's not like it's an angel or something like that. There's a bird head here, there's bird wings. But there's some kind of strange arm, and you know it's an arm because the legs stick out behind it. Once it twitches once, and the wing kind of flaps forward, as if it's trying to drag itself out like a grounded, wounded bird.
Okay. I will definitely head back and tell the guys that. I'm not going down anywhere near that stuff by myself.
Okay. So, Calidor, what has happened in the camp? Like, with the three of you guys standing around, is there anything that happens while you're waiting for Calidor to scramble up there and get back down? It's probably about 15-20 minutes of time you had to fill.
I mean, Knox is watching the sky because of that bird that was seen, previously.
Yeah.
And that's freaked him out a bit. So he's just on the lookout for anything that might be watching them, he doesn't know if these are spies or just predators or who knows what. So that's what he's going to be doing.
Okay. Elanion and Bergour, anything you're doing, or just kind of keeping watch?
Elanion is actually taking a moment to rest, and he's checking his magical connection with the realm to see if there's any elves about.
Sure. So he, one of the things that we'll point out too is that Elanion has a very unusual style of magic that is specific to his tribe, and that is elementalism. He is a stone or an earth elementalist, and I think Hobbs, if you want to come up with some kind of cool, name for your a geomancer or something like that, you can feel free to.
That's the exact same word I was thinking of.
We really share one brain. It's just lent out to different people.
Doesn't really sound like that's what savage elves would come up with.
No, it would totally be something like, a stone seer or, something along those lines. Something more primal and more like direct, but also mystic sounding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you, what do you call it? You lean down and, this is a non sequitur, but someone had requested, on Twitter, had asked about names for it. He's like, I got a gang of people who are in my campaign who are like magical thieves who break magic and destroy magical items. I need names for this stuff too. And my immediate reaction was, arcanoclasts. They break things. And as soon as I tweeted it, I'm like, why the fuck did I share that? I wanted to use that.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, totally.
Jeez. Anyway, brace yourselves. You're going to hear about the arcanoclasts from now until like eternity, because
Awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, while you guys are keeping an eye out, and Elanion, you got your hands down. You're kind of touching you work your way through the overgrowth and down into the earth itself, and kind of feeling, for any kind of connection here. What is your wisdom?
I'm not sure it's very good. 15.
15. Okay.
That's pretty good.
So you're reaching out, and I think that you can feel yourself slowly. I don't know. You tell me. I'll let you fill in the narrative. How do you think that, you aren't going to pick up anything yet? But what is the process that he kind of goes through as he's trying to reach out with those stone senses?
What would it look like in a movie, or what are you asking me?
However, you can fill in the narrative however you like. You can give it a visual that we see. You can give a description of what's going on in his mind. Whatever you like.
So probably you wouldn't really see thing regular, but like a of a rooted tree.
Sorry, Hobbs. You kind of pixelated out there. We lost you for.
Yeah.
What? Is this better?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah.
Dang, I had it down too far. I didn't want you to hear me breathing.
No, go ahead. I think it was a connectivity thing, because you were getting that like,
Let me yell at my wife. She's probably on Netflix. It would almost be like a worming, or like the tendrils of a rooted tree or something as it expands out from where he is.
Okay.
So you might just see his senses kind of seeping through the tunnels that are there. But they wouldn't see earth or anything. It's not like you could pick out, where water is or anything like that. So it would be certainly a different sort of sense, though.
Okay. Do we see maybe a little bit of like where his hands touch the stone? Because I know you got that spell as well too. That maybe like little tips of your hands begin kind of getting like the earthy, cracked quality to it, to like dry mud.
Sure, I like.
So you're touching down, and the thing you pick up is that suddenly, because of, I guess, maybe the connection you've been reaching out on, he's not a member of your tribe, but there is a fellow elf who is now suddenly back. And Calidor, how do you walk back into the party where everyone's resting?
He probably makes sure that he's seen from a bit of a distance, like he wouldn't sneak right back into the camp.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Okay, so Calidor has clearly made himself known and seen, and he's making noise, so you all kind of look over and see him making his way over towards you. What do you do as you walk up, Calidor? Elanion, your eyes flash open and you see him coming back as well.
Okay. Stoner.
Good call.
I didn't come up with that. Brian in the park did.
Oh, nice.
Jeez, well done, Brian. Oh man, that's funny.
Got me.
So what do you say as he comes up?
Just I found some very interesting stuff over on the hills. One was we've gone too far.
One is that you're a bit lost right now.
Yeah, we're not where we think we are. But the second thing is I saw a very interesting pool of water down there that would definitely be worth investigating. Some kind of strange bird feet or something coming out of it. Very strange. Hard to tell from a distance, but I think we should head over.
Like a dead bird with its feet sticking out?
Maybe. Very hard.
How long do you think it would take us to reach it?
Well, it was only. Would you say, Kev, 200 meters away?
It's about. It would take you about with the terrain going kind of up and down or down and then up again. It'll take you probably about 45 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
It's in our
It's
path.
less than an hour from here. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's investigate.
Let's investigate.
Hold on here.
Time to string the bow.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. And Calidor pulls his bow out as well.
Hold up. I want to check something here. I need. Sorry, I am trying to find. I wish they wouldn't display premium assets. If you don't have access to them when you're doing searches for images, just don't fucking have them as the top result.
Right.
Or if you are going to have them as a premium asset, have it a click and purchase thing. Because
Is this in Roll20?
yeah, it's in Roll20. I was trying to find an image of something, and it's just happened quite a few times where I've found an image. I'm like, okay, cool, and I realize that it's not something I've got.
Well, that's what
in
they
my
want. Buy it. It's marketing, right?
right then. But the thing is, it's stupid marketing because if I've got no way of actually purchasing it from that thing, like I don't even know what it's part of. So it's like you can buy this. I'm like, okay, how?
If you click,
You can buy this.
it'll take you in. I thought.
Nope. 9. 9.
Nine.
Okay, let's see here. I think I may have something in my bestiary, though. Nope, proven wrong again. Kev foiled by Roll20 again. My goodness. Then I have to go with the description. Descriptione. Alone. Am I right here? No. A lot of adversaries. Cleverly named set. Okay. So, as you guys make your way over, describe for me how you're planning on approaching this thing. Are you just going kind of straight, like down the hill and then up the next side, or navigating towards where Calidor has described this thing being?
I think from what he said, something was moving.
Yep.
So I think we should try to be quiet if we can.
Sure.
Maybe
Okay.
have Calidor, Bergour, Knox, and then I'll bring up the rear.
Sure. So,
That sounds
Calidor,
good.
you are okay with taking point on this? I mean, you're the one who saw where this thing was, I suppose. So,
Yeah, sure. I would have no problem sort of directing everybody where it was that I saw.
okay. So, what I think you guys find, for one thing, this is for the characters who have a strength of less than 10. I think that your legs are very wobbly at this point. This is even for this long of going up and down and up and down. If your characters don't have any wilderness skills or whatnot, Elanion, you're probably fine. Bergour, you're tough as shoe leather, so like you're probably fine. Calidor, what's your constitution?
12.
12. Okay, so I think you're doing okay. Knox, what's your con and strength?
Actually, because we rolled randomly,
Yeah.
my con is 16 and my strength is 14 as a wizard.
Oh fuck! So yeah, you're
So that's not very helpful.
totally fine. This
I
this
love
narration
it.
is clearly for some other characters, not for the fit group of X whatever athletes you guys are
Very
doing.
fit.
CrossFit.
That's right.
I've got my giant heavy tire in my equipment guide.
Yeah.
So then, what do you guys? I mean, you move with very, with kind of the brisk pace that an eager kind of or professional adventuring party might do. You make your way to the bottom of this, and you make your way up. Calidor, you're the first to crest the hill, and as you get closer here, what you can see is this is just it's like a gravel pit. That may not like a full. I don't mean like a full pit, but I mean like it is a depression that just happens to fill with water. This is not like a what do you call it? A naturally occurring body of water. This is not something fed by a brook or stream or whatnot. This is rain runoff that has nowhere to go, or nowhere to go in the underlying earth. You can see now that you're closer that this thing that is lying there, and it has that grayish, white feathers on it, and it's got different kind of patterns in it. There is one major difference, I guess, or one difference in the color, and that is the enormous red spot that comes from an oversized arrow that is sticking out of its side. And it's sort of like right underneath where the body is, right underneath where the left wing is splayed out before, and the wings are still splayed out the way that you saw it before. This thing's head is very close to, or within about 10 feet or so of the water. And something strange is that, well, for one, this seems like a bit of a unusual fusion of a humanoid of some kind with some kind of like a predator bird, a raptor of some kind. The other strange thing is this fusion creature is wearing a harness and like crudely made jewelry on its hand, and it has about maybe 20 feet behind it. There is an appropriately sized javelin. The wingspan of this thing, you think that if it was up and able to spread its wings, not in the kind of bent way that this thing is, the wings may have a 20-foot wingspan, and standing, it may be near the size of a man. Not a tall man, mind you, but probably, 5.5 to 5'8".
What part of it's humanoid?
The
centaur?
The central part. It has, if you can picture a hawk or a falcon that has more a hawk, I think, than a falcon, but that has in place of its the breast, it sort of fills out into a humanoid torso to allow for shoulders and two hands coming out. Although the hands are heavily feathered, or the arms are heavily feathered, and the hands have the same kind of wrinkled, grayish skin that you'd see on a raptor's legs. And its feet, which are bare but have wrappings around the ankles of some kind, as if it's maybe dancers you might see wear something like that, as if it's an accoutrement, not a piece of clothing or otherwise have a function. It's on its legs, which stick out from, again, that same kind of area. If this thing stood, it probably would stand at a bit of a hunch. But its legs are angled in a strange way, so you would think that that's the way that its body is designed to kind of walk. It can hunch along, and it has those enormous wings. That would be if this body was not as broken as it appears to be. One of the wings is bent at a strange angle. One of the legs is built. And at first, Calidor, you're trying to make sense of what you're seeing here, and you realize that one of the legs appears to be... because of the presence of blood and whatnot in it too, it's broken in an area where, I think, do you have any kind of tracking or anything like that, Calidor?
Yeah, I do have tracking, actually.
Okay, so what you can see is, just because you're used to looking for patterns in the earth and whatnot, if you were to guess, this thing hit the ground really hard about 25 feet behind where it's come to a rest. It hit and kind of staggered along and got there. The arrow is not the size of something shot by a human or an elf, or even an orc. This is, it's either something from some kind of piece of siege equipment or something much larger than a man. Not so big like a giant, but you'd guess it's probably about 1.5 times the size and length of what an arrow would be. So, in comparison to this, it makes it, when you first see it, it would look fairly small in comparison. But once you get closer and are able to sort of judge, it's this thing sticking out of it. Effectively imagine a spear-sized arrow.
Wow. Okay.
What's that, Hobbs?
Serious.
Ballista, like a ballista.
It's not thick. I don't know if any of you guys. I think Bergour may have. Do you think you've got any experience with siege machinery, Bergour?
Maybe a bit of passing experience, but certainly I'm not a siege
Not an expert on.
engineer.
So I think at a passing, maybe like Elanion, you say that out loud, kind of thinking out loud. Is it ballista? And Bergour, you know that this is the way of like you doing exposition in the film version of our campaign.
Nice.
And what you can tell, Bergour, is that like it's way too thin. This is designed to be launched from an arrow or from a bow. It's just a much larger bow than what any of you could wield. A ballista is designed to project this giant, effectively like, small tree with a heavy, piercing implement on the end. A ballista or a scorpion. This is an arrow. This
Can
is
I imagine the size of the bow that's would fit in?
Yeah, I think because you're a master archer, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would probably be about 1.5 times the size of you.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone
Yeah.
have any fletching as a proficiency?
No,
don't know if
but
it
I
is.
was wondering about the fletching, but I
So,
don't have anything.
I think Caldor, just because you can see this, the fletching is. This appears to be from a tribal culture more so than a civilized culture.
Mm.
And the fletching on this, the what are they called? The feathers at the end of the arrow. What is it called? There's a word for it. I just don't remember. We're all collectively failing our D&D nerd check here.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat, please help.
Yeah, the flights or whatnot.
No, that sounds vaguely familiar.
Anyway, I'll look it up. I got the arms and equipment guy behind me. I'll look it
Yeah,
up.
I honestly don't know.
No, I have no idea. I'm not
I've
sure it's
never
really
been that
important.
much of a weapon nerd to.
No. So what you see? Yeah, where's Dave? Where's Dave and his SCA stuff when we need him?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
I think his ears are burning. He's playing D&D 5th tonight, so he's somewhere thinking, somewhere. The the feathers, I guess, on the end, they seem to be from some large, dark avian. Something quite big. Like, this is not feathers that you would draw from a normal-sized animal. This is a dire avian of some kind. So whatever launched this thing, and I guess you know as well too, Caldor, the back strength, the shoulder strength that's required to fire this thing. To hit something like this with that size arrow, it's got to be a really strong creature as well too.
Exactly.
Apparently they called veins or feathers.
Oh, brilliant. They call the feathers. Man, Fletchers
Yeah, I
have
know.
no creativity.
I don't know where they came up with that.
So what should we call these feather things? Feathers.
And that is
Yeah.
my non-Jonathan Google foo. So
Oh, nice.
Jonathan might have come up with a better answer, but that's what I can find in a quick search.
Awesome. Okay, so
Kev, do I know of any creatures that are that large, like giants or I don't know, orcs?
It's
Or, like,
not-
is there something I know of that is that
So I think
size?
that you know what, because of what has been mentioned. So the thought goes through like, well, maybe something the size of an ogre, but ogres are generally not smart enough to do that, and they are more creatures of brute force. So it would be a javelin or a spear of some kind, or even just chucking a rock or something like that.
Right.
If this is something from that's that size and knowing what lurks in the south, gnolls. Thing that over the editions, people seem to forget. Gnolls are like 7 to 8 feet tall. They're really big in comparison to humans, and that's 7 to 8 feet tall in their hunched, weird jackal kind of way. So if they actually stood up, these things may be 9 feet tall.
Right. Okay.
Stronger, larger, and more ferocious than a man.
Is there known jackals to be in this area?
The gnolls?
Or sorry, the gnolls?
In the south of the Patchwork Hills, definitely.
Okay.
It's interesting they're an enemy of this avian creature, though.
Yeah.
Or whoever was riding it, because there's a harness.
But it's
No, there's not.
a saddle.
There's a harness around which it has like pouches. It is a complete because they're an
see.
alien or at least non-human species. You would guess it's the equivalent of a traveling harness. There's bags and pouches and stuff like that. They're very crudely made, but it looks effective.
Okay.
What's its face? Has its face got human features, or does it have like a beak?
No, its face has a beak. It seems as if it is a raptor of some kind, and it's who's got the highest wisdom here? I think. Can't remember.
Not me.
I have a 15.
15? It's pretty good.
Yeah, that might be
So,
bad.
Elanion, so you're studying this too, and the beak is open, and I think that you see just a slight tremor runs through the left wing again as it tries to move. The arrow just trembles just a slight amount, and you think you can see its tongue. The tongue that's open in the open beak kind of flicks for a second.
Oh shit! It's still alive.
Hmm.
I'm
Should
gonna
we
think
help
he
it?
does?
Try and give it water.
Yeah, should we help it?
Yeah, seems like it. For
Bergour.
now, anyway.
Would you, Bergour, would you kindly give me a wisdom check?
That's a success.
Fantastic.
Nice.
So you guys are start getting up to go down, and suddenly Bergour kind of puts his big hand on each of your shoulders and gets you down.
The gnolls are nearby.
You don't know you don't know how far away this thing was. Looking at the size of that arrow in this thing, how long could this thing have flown with that sticking out of it? What kind of will would it have taken to do that, if it even was able to carry on? So you stop for a moment, and you guys, you don't need to roll for this, but you do look around. There's no sign of anything else around you. There's no sound apart from the wind coming through the hills.
Can we tell at all from the way that it kind of crashed and then skittered to the stop this far away what direction it might have been flying, possibly?
It was coming from the north. Oh, sorry. It was coming from the south towards the north.
Okay.
So this is obviously what people have been seeing lurking about, but it seems like the
Yeah. Yeah.
So from the angle of the arrow, can we tell where it might have come from?
Where it was shot, you mean?
Yeah,
Right.
shot from.
What you can see is that it was shot. The arrow is stuck kind of in what would be like the equivalent of the rib cage, just under the left shoulder, and under the left wing.
So that means it would be west of our position, possibly.
Yeah.
If it hit it on the left side and it was headed north.
Right. Yep. So closer to the mire. Okay. Interesting. Does it respawn when we try to give it some water?
Oh, we didn't go up there. Bergour stopped us.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
That's right.
I heard, does it respawn? For a second, I'm
Oh,
like,
respawn.
yeah, reset the dungeon, and it'll...
You walk 1 kilometer away and you walk back, it'll...
It'll be
Right.
fine.
Exactly.
Okay, so
Fine.
you stop for a moment. Each of you carefully studies the hills. You listen. You even hold your breath to try and catch any sound. Nothing apart from you guys. I think that the party all looks back at Bergour. He was the one who seemed to have cautioned everyone from just charging in. Bergour, what are you thinking?
Not sure how close I want to get to that beak, but if somebody else wants to take a water skin up to it.
Knox would do it. That would be unexpected.
I think
He's got a low wisdom. That's his lowest
Elanion,
stat.
would you kindly give me actually, Elanion and Calidor, both of you guys give me an intelligence check, please.
All right. Oh, actually, I'm not an idiot.
I would assume you're not. You're a wizard.
Yeah.
You're a wizard, Jeff.
No, I'm not.
No?
I'm a fighter thief.
Oh, I thought. Oh, it's
I am. Yeah.
it's-
Yeah. Oh, good lord.
Oh, your brother.
Shoot.
That ain't good.
Yep.
Where the heck is the roll on this thing?
There's no roll button.
there's no
you
roll
have to
button,
roll
not for them.
manually.
Yeah.
Mm.
Let me see here. What am I at? Sorry about this.
It's okay.
Not prepared. I was looking for the roll the whole time.
Yeah.
All right, I got an
18. Okay. Okay, so then what I was rolling to see if you guys had any insight into what the hell this thing is.
Well, would animal lore help?
It's not an animal. It's
Okay.
some kind of, like I said, some kind of fusion.
I mean, we're all animals, really, right? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, can you really ever own stuff, man?
Right.
It's Elanion with the dime store hippie kind of.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh,
All right. Calidor, keep your eyes peeled. I think we should try to help it. It came from that way, point over towards the west.
Okay.
Either that or you want to slink up there or you want me to, I guess. Or Knox, really, do you want to?
He's like I said, he's reckless, so he would totally do it, and he feels for this. He feels for the suffering of others, so he would be willing to do it for sure if no one else wants to do it.
All right, we'll let him be our bait then. Hopefully we can spot the knoll before.
Well, Calidor can cover him with his bow, so
Right, and so we'll
Okay. Cool.
okay.
So I will bring. I do have. Let me double check. Yes, I have a water skin. So I'm gonna approach with my water skin cautiously and slowly, and like with my hands kind of raised, so to show,
Sure.
because obviously this creature must be freaked out.
What
so
is
I don't
what
want
is
to.
your does your charisma give you a reaction modifier?
Let's see. Yes. I have a +2.
+2. Okay,
Nice.
cool.
Yeah.
Good.
very, very
Okay.
nice.
Thing. It's page 100, I believe. Look at that. Man, I love this DMG.
Because it gives such wonderful treasures to the players, right?
Totally.
They are.
Totally. No, it's just, it is chock full of really useful and handy little things in it, and it's a very slim volume. The DMG in 5th got pretty bloated in comparison to the 4th edition one, and the 3rd edition, 3.5 was pretty fat, but okay. So you have a +1 to yours. Let's see here.
+2.
+2. Okay. I think that as you get down there, what are describe for me, guys? What are we seeing Calidor and Elanion and Bergour do as he goes down? You can picture that there's probably about maybe 75 yards between where you guys reach the point to look down at this thing and where this thing has come to a rest.
Elanion is definitely... He's looking off to the west because that's where we believe the arrow came from.
Okay.
But he is tempted to head over in that direction. But he doesn't really want a confrontation. So
To the west, you mean?
yeah, just
Okay.
to see if he can see it. But he feels like maybe they should just stay here and keep an eye out.
Okay. What about Bergour and Calidor? Where are you guys as Knox makes his way down?
Calidor is sort of on the side of the hill and covering Knox with his bow.
Got it. Okay. And Bergour?
I think Bergour's just kind of scanning around, trying to make sure that we're not, about to get ambushed or anything like that.
Sure. Does he have any? It sounds like Calidor has his bow ready. Do Elanion and Bergour have anything ready as well?
Elanion has his compound longbow as well ready.
Okay.
And he's looking towards where he thinks the arrow came from while
Okay.
Calidor is actually watching Knox.
Awesome. Okay, so we got our 2 elves are keeping overwatch. One watching Knox to see if anything happens with this bird creature, and Elanion keeping an eye out to the other side. Bergour, what do you have ready?
Shield out, not like raised up at all, but
Yep.
just on his arm, and then his battle axe. I don't know if it fits in his belt or if it fits on his back, but he doesn't have it in hand yet.
Okay. Yeah,
And
wherever you want to.
And on the top of my mind, I've got my magic missile spell ready to cast if I need to. It doesn't require any material components, so
Okay.
it's just there in the front of his memory if he needs it.
Okay. So you make your way down towards this, and one thing you can see is that the lids of this thing, of its eyes, are actually closed, and it's the same grayish leathery skin that you see on its hands and its feet, or the claws that are on its feet. As you get in closer, what you can see is that the harness that this thing has on actually has some very, very intricate filigree that's been carved into this thing. And it's not like just carved in, it's some kind of very sophisticated tooling that's been used to add a lot of detail to this. It wasn't evident from further away, but as you're getting in closer, like, this is not some crude thing that's been put together. It's a very complicated like harness apparatus or whatever that has been made by a very skilled hand.
Okay.
As you look at the javelin, again, it also was, or that you pass on the way in here, it also looks fairly, crudely made, but it has an iron shod spearhead or tip on it. So it's not just sharpened wood; it's something that has there, and you can see that there are leather straps that are hooked around on 2 different parts of this thing. And judging from the distance too, it might be an awkward distance from which to hold with hands, but looking at this thing's feet, that might be an appropriate distance. So this may have been something wielded with its feet, or the clawed, feet, rather than its hands.
I mean, Knox is becoming more and more intrigued by this creature, so... But he's really obviously recognizing that it has a high level of intelligence. It's not animalistic at all. So he's kind of adjusting his approach to reflect that by, not treating it like it's a dumb animal. So he's going to start actually talking in common, just in case, and saying it's even though the eyes are closed, it's saying it's okay. I'm bringing you some water. I'm bringing you some water.
Okay. How close are you when you start speaking?
I guess I'll wait till I get within.
And just as a reminder,
25 feet.
its wings spread out.
Right.
Yeah.
Or 20 feet.
I don't know why I flex my shoulders like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, his wings.
Yeah, so I guess I'll wait once I get within 35 or 40 feet. I guess I'll start talking, just so I don't have to shout or anything.
Okay. So you get within that distance, and you start talking, and its eye, the left eye, is really all you can see because it's lying, face down with the wing and whatever else. It flashes open, and it's near perfect black, with just a hint of like yellow around the edges, like a bird's eye. And it's sort of wildly moving around, and it sees you. And there's this spasm that kind of runs from the back and then through the wings, and it kind of has this. It lets out this sort of reedy kind of squawk, like as if there's not enough force going through across the vocal cords to actually properly make a sound, but it kind of and this muscle spasm, and it moves a tiny bit forward and then kind of collapses, spasming almost as if that arrow had hit it again. Like as if it had, by moving, it had somehow moved it around, and it spasms. Now that you're in closer to, you can also see that there is a lot of dust and dirt and stuff on this thing's wings. No doubt that was picked up as it crashed to the ground. And you think you can see the one strangely bent leg. It wasn't evident from where you were standing, but now you're in closer, and now that it's moved its leg just a little bit, there is a bone and blood sticking out from within the feathers. You couldn't tell it as different from the feathers, but from now you can see it.
Okay, so I'll say, even though I don't know if it's going to understand me, I'm just going to speak in a calming way, but I'm saying, I'm here to help you. I have water, and I actually pour some water into my mouth from the water skin to just show that,
Okay.
I actually am what I'm bringing there to him. We're here to help. Want to help you if we can.
Its clawed feet are kind of going back and forth. It's it's one arm. It tries to move it up on the left, and then it sort of pushes itself up on just a little bit on the right side. You realize that the right arm must be buried underneath this thing somewhere, and Lord knows what kind of injury it suffered for there. But you can see its clawed hand, which is only three fingers, with the talons on the end of the what approximates a hand. It sort of kind of moving it and gesturing towards you, and without fully closing the beak, kind of like moves just a little bit, and now it can't make any sound. Its eyes, however, is still like looking at you and wildly looking around, trying to see if there's anything else there.
Well, Knox, as I mentioned, believes in signs and portents and destiny and fate, so he thinks that this is such a random, coincidence that we would have come upon this creature because we went off course.
Yep.
That this is what he needs to be doing. So
Okay.
he is going to continue moving forward.
So you continue moving forward. You're now within 20 feet. All of you guys can see that if this thing lashed out with one of those mighty wings, it could definitely hit Knox. But it either chooses not to or is just physically unable to do so. You would guess from the panic look in its eyes. And you can see as well, Knox, although this thing is clearly non-human, non-elf, non-whatever, not a recognizable species, there is an intelligence within that, a keen intelligence within that eye.
Okay.
And what do? You're able to move up to this thing. It really can't do anything to...
So I'm going to try to, I know its beak is kind of opening and closing. I'm going to try to see if, it'll allow me to basically pour some water out of the water skin into its beak.
Sure. You're going to have to sort of like put your hand underneath the beak and lift it up in order to get it in the mouth, right?
Okay, so I'm going to very cautiously and very carefully, so I don't injure it further, considering what I just saw happen.
Yeah.
Try to do that, and if it makes any reaction, pained reaction, obviously I'm immediately stop.
So at first, as you're going in, you can see weakly it moves its beak up, kind of like a like a dog trying to ward you off from touching its face. But it's far too weak to be able to effectively do that. So you're able to position yourself, move the head just up a little bit, get in, and then pour that down.
Okay, and obviously if it reacts in a negative way to the water, I'm going to stop too.
It takes about, it feels like an eternity, but it takes about 5 minutes for you to finally get some of it down. And it realizes, I guess, or at least accepts what you're doing and accepts your assistance. So
Okay, I'll give it as much as it wants.
Okay. So it drinks it coughs. This is the typical, like, have not had water for a while thing. It coughs up a little bit. But after 1 or 2 tries, you're able to get this thing to take a little bit of water.
Okay. And I want to say to it, while that's happening, I have companions with me. I'm going to bring them closer and see if any one of us can help you. So do not be alarmed as they approach.
Its eyes don't make any. There's not any. There's reactions that it's going, like the eyes looking around and whatever. It's not really giving any indication that it understands though what you're saying.
That's fine. I'm just trying to mostly use a calming voice. And
and the tone.
And hopefully the act of giving it water will help give a sense that I'm not an enemy, which is really what I'm.
Its voice is a little stronger now that you've got some water on its parched, throat, and it does. It's making kind of a squawking sound, and then alternates with a very, very weak imitation of like an eagle's cry. That kind of, or what From what I understand, an eagle's cry is actually really shitty, and it's a different bird they use for the sound that we all assume is what an eagle sounds like.
Yeah.
But it's that. It's a very weak equivalent of that.
Okay. So I basically want to wave over my companions, and obviously we're at a distance that they can't hear me, so I'm just going to kind of indicate, it's okay to come here, whoever wants to come.
Okay. So Calidor seems to be the one who's keeping the closest eye on you. Calidor, you're probably the first one. You and Bergour see that. Elanion, you're keeping your eye or your eyes very carefully off in the west.
So you're waving us down, basically?
Yeah, I'm waving you closer. If you want, like I'm saying, it's okay. Come down.
Okay, I think we should head down.
Okay.
Seems safe. And Calidor will start heading down.
Okay.
Actually, you'll release the tension on his bow and maybe even put his arrow back in his quiver.
Okay. So in a flawless, well-practiced maneuver, the arrow's right back in your quiver, and you start making your way down. Bergour and
still holding his bow, but
Elanion, you see this out of the corner of your eye. What are you doing? Are you keeping Overwatch to the west, or are you gonna come down as well?
I think I'm gonna. I'll say I'll keep watch.
Okay.
Okay.
Bergour, what about you?
I'm gonna head down with Calidor.
Okay. So just by virtue of how long your legs are, I think Calidor actually gets down a little ahead of Bergour because your speed's a little faster. And there seems to be a bit of a reaction from this thing when it spies the elf. It sees the elf, and it seems to kind of... It actually draws enough strength to sort of move its head in this direction. And it seems to be... It's not able to get itself up because of how injured it is and how weakened it is. But it seems as if it's trying to get itself up, and it doesn't have the panicked urgency that it did when it first saw you, Knox.
Okay.
And the eye is, you can see this big bird eye is fixed on you, Calidor.
And I'm gonna step away to let Calidor be able to engage without crowding it.
Yeah.
I'll move up and I'll say greetings.
In common?
No, and I mean, it seemed to react to me.
Yeah.
So I'll speak in Elvish.
I think so. There's different dialects of Elvish. Remember, they.
Okay. Well, whatever one I know, I don't know if I wrote it down, but
I do not know if you did. You are a high elf, so I think you speak. What's up here?
dancing.
High elf is on what you put in her language.
Did I?
No, it's what's on my character sheet. It says common, elven, elf, and high elf. And up to 4 more.
Yeah, because there's the different subspecies each has its own kind of dialect. The gray elves, the high elves, the sylvan elves, or the green elves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I speak Sylvan.
Okay. Sylvan, which is different from Sylvan elf.
Yes,
Green
exactly.
elf, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you make your way up, and you're seeing you try, because I think you actually have 2 elven dialects, Calidor, if I remember.
Oh, yeah, I never actually added any. Now that I
Okay. So you walk up and nothing comes out.
So one is common, and one is high elf.
Yes.
Oops.
So what you say that in high elf, it doesn't seem to understand that, but its eye still is fixed on you, and it doesn't have the panicked urgency that it had previously. The eye sort of goes over to you, Knox, and then back to him, and it squawks out a word in that sort of strange, chirpy, squawking language that it initially tries. Not the eagle cry, the first thing. Mm-hmm. And it gestures towards you again with its beak.
I will attempt to, just because I know Sylvan, I'm gonna kind of switch to that since it didn't seem to understand what I was saying specifically in common.
Okay. So
and
you're speaking.
just say, do you understand what I'm saying?
Again, does not seem to
Okay.
to respond to it. Elanion, you said you had, what were your proficiencies again? Did you have an animal lore or nature lore or something like that?
Yes, animal lore.
Animal lore. You want to give me
nice.
take a -2 to your score and then give me an animal lore check, please. So it's not a modifier to your roll; it's a modifier to your score.
Yeah, I got you. Let me see here.
Okay.
Okay. So that would be this. Yeah, 1 success.
Oh yeah, we'll take a bio break in a moment here, guys. Great.
Cool.
So you don't know from what this thing is, right? But if this thing was a bird, it looks really really unhealthy. Like, apart from the broken bones and the weird angles of its leg and its wing, this may have been without food for quite some time as well.
Oh,
I see.
Okay, yeah, I'll.
I don't know how I tell these guys that, but
Yeah, so I think you spare a look down and you see them talking to this thing and interacting with it. And Lane's like, "Give us some goddamn food!" And then suddenly 100 knoll arrows hit Elanion.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good game, right?
Now we can take our break.
Yeah.
We're all
We'll
dead.
spend the second half of the session rolling up new characters.
Yeah.
Oh, God. The good old Aarakocra trap. So I think that what happens... Well, why don't we do this, guys? Let's... You all three, the last person to come down is Bergour, and again, like, the eyes go over, it hears you coming along, your heavy boots, your armor, Although you're not wearing really heavy armor, are you? You got Brigandine, isn't it?
Not super heavy. I do have Brigandine.
Brigandine, yeah. So you get down there, and it sort of looks at you, and then it's sort of taking in what all of you are. But then its eye finishes, or not finishes, but it rests on Calidor and seems to be sort of satisfied with you. And I think that what we'll do before we take our break is this thing will slowly, it squawks in pain as it's moving, but as it sort of pushes itself up a little bit, you can see that its arm, the right arm, is also at a weird broken angle. The right wing is likewise at a weird broken angle. So is the leg. This thing hit the ground hard, you think, but somehow, with force of will or whatever, it managed to push itself up onto its one good left leg using its left hand, and with the support of its left wing as well too, pushes back and sort of gets in a bit of a lying on its side maybe as it looks up at you all. And if you offer any food to it, it will take the food and start consuming it. Let's find out what happens next when we get back. I'm going to quickly hit refresh on the browser here as well, just to get... so I've seen we're getting some artifacts from the sound on it, and we're missing some people here.
Yeah, same here.
But then, then we'll take a quick break. I do need to take the... for those listening at home, we'll take a quick 5-minute break here, and I need to quickly let the pooch out, and then we'll come back and find out what this strange avian traveler, what secrets it may hold.
Awesome.
Cool. Okay, so we'll see you guys back in a few minutes here. Get yourself up here. I'm trying to remember what order I had you guys in. I think I got this correct here. Boom, boom, boom. Go.
Yeah, and I get everybody's camera back now, so...
Yeah, I've got everyone. Yeah, I can see everybody again now, and lost all my that pixelating artifacting stuff. Okay. Cool. Okay, so then, folks, we will be back in about 5 minutes. Let me put on some intermission music here. Some exciting intermission music. Put that down. Ooh, that bodes well for the rest of the session.
Exactly.
Cool. Okay, we're back momentarily.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, I got the map's not loading properly for me. How is it looking for you guys?
It looks all right. Sometimes when I load in, it looks blurry and then takes a minute to get full resolution.
It was blurry when I came out, and now, when I walked away, and now it still looks super blurry. So am I zoomed in too much? No, that's not. I'll try changing maps and coming back to this one here. Let's see here. Boom, go there. What's going on, Roll20? What are you doing? Okay, that loaded properly, so let's see if I can go back in here. Will it load? Come on. Come on, come on. Run, you little horse. Let's go. Come on. What a pain in the butt. It's just not loading properly at all right now. It's all blurry. Oh, there we go. Nice. I've heard that said that patience is a virtue, which I apparently do not have. All right, let's check here. Hey, we got a lot of folks in chat. Howdy, howdy, everyone. Tabletop Gamer, what's shaking? Thank you for joining us. Is it a homebrew game? No, this is the Night Below campaign. Oh, yeah, and Hobbs already answered it for me. Brian, what is shaking? Lagoul. Howdy, howdy. Night Below, good campaign. I totally agree, Lagoul. That is awesome. And pretty awesome. Cool. Thank you very much for the kind words there, Brian. And for Lagoul. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm glad you guys are enjoying. Hey, we got the whole party back now. Pretty great. So, guys. With this foreboding music playing. Now when I reveal the multiple knolls that are coming down on you guys. So, what we left with, guys, was with, I believe, Knox and Calidor and now Bergour keeping an eye on this thing.
And Jeff, was Calidor going to try to give it some food, or do you want me to do it?
Calidor can do it.
Great, because I think he seems to like you. Yeah, exactly. Agree.
Okay. So, Calidor grabs food and carefully makes your way over. What is it you're feeding this thing?
Chicken. No, I'm kidding.
Probably whatever the best rations we would have. I don't know. I don't have much other than rations, so...
there's probably like a equivalent of like trail mix kind of stuff in there, like nuts and some kind of...
Yeah, like something that I think a bird
non-perishable protein of some kind.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, so it accepts that and kind of eats some of it. You know, scrambles it down, and it... I think it reaches... it reaches in its... into one of the pouches that it has in its, you know, on its person, and pulls out this. It's a very crude, kind of like a scroll casing kind of thing, and it gestures towards you, Calidor, and it's. Would you give me? Let's see here. Would you give me a? I think an intelligence check. Actually, and anyone who's down there, Bergour, Calidor, and Knox, you can all give me an intelligence check. Elanion, would you kindly give me a wisdom check?
Okay.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Calidor, was that a success for you?
Yeah, my intelligence is 15. Is there a way to roll it, then not just roll a 20? I haven't seen a way yet. I don't know what you guys
to roll. Do you mean
there's
to roll
not
a
a
stat?
there's not an auto?
Oh, you just say less than. Oh, I see.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So, Elanion is a big success on that. Okay. So I think what this thing is squawking as it's handing it towards you, and it looks like a piece of leather that's been treated and like and kind of like pinched at both ends and sealed with some kind of like wax or something like that. It's a crude version. There's if you picture like, you know, like a Christmas cracker how it's got like the pinched ends on each side, and there's a thicker middle to it. That's kind of what this is, but a little longer and made of leather. It's gesturing this towards you, and let's see, Bergour, nope. Caldor, as this thing is gesturing it towards you, it's a strange tongue that it's saying, but you think the word it's saying, or struggling to try and say, is serene.
Oh, yeah.
So Caldor is the one who hears this and recognizes that that's what it's trying to say. Elanion, while you're keeping watch off to the west, you can hear the sound of some small little group of birds that was nesting on a hill to the south has suddenly taken off. You spare a look back over there. You squint your eyes, and you can see that there are 5 kind of crouched over humanoids. They stand about 3 feet tall, blue-skinned, wearing the crude armor you expect of their kind, kind of an ovoid-shaped head and pointed ears. You don't need to make any checks or anything to recognize a strange blue-skinned band of goblins. And they're trying their best to not be seen. They are all kind of hunched over. They're wielding spears and tiny swords. They seem to be, from where they are, you guess they're kind of looking down at the group of adventurers. Now, are you making any effort? I'm going to guess that where you position yourself to keep overwatch, you're trying to you're down on your knees and trying to like not be seen, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
And I had, before I saw the goblins, I was getting ready to go down to join the others, but when the birds flew up, it must have gave me pause.
Yeah. So you look over and you can see those things, and you crouch back down again. They don't seem to have seen you, and they seem interested in looking down at what's going on with your colleagues. The rest of you guys don't make any notice of this, because this thing has just squawked out something and has tried to hand something to Caldor. Now,
I'll take what he's trying to hand me.
Sure. So you take that thing. None of you guys none of you guys have first aid, do you? As a proficiency?
Unfortunately not.
I think it was John's character, right? Yeah, shoot. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
we do.
you know, this thing like, you know, what do you do? Like, what do we see as this thing passes it over to you, Caldor?
He would, carefully, trying not to disturb it too much, reach in and take, just grab what he is offering. Maybe give him sort of a little bow or a little, polite gesture as he takes it.
Sure. As you do, it squawks something else out in that chirpy kind of language that you said before, and it kind of it falls down. It's not dead, but it's dying.
Ooh.
You can tell. Oh, we have no clerics in our party tonight either.
Yep, that's what I was just going to point out.
Ooh. So
we don't know if Elanion has any kind of potential. We have to check with him when he comes back, when he comes down to us, but see if he knows any kind of first aid or anything. But I'm assuming he doesn't. So
this kind of like tragic drama is playing out at the bottom of the thing next to this brackish water pool of water next to you. Elanion, you're studying. The goblins don't seem to be making any further motion to make down there. They all seem to be kind of chittering to each other. They are very animated, as goblins tend to be. They're and gesturing down, so you can tell that what they're talking about, and they seem to be kind of strategizing or at least communicating with each other. What are you doing in the interim? And to give it situate, they're probably about maybe 250 yards away from you.
Okay.
At the top of another hill, the hill to the southmost of where you guys are right now.
And they don't seem to be making notice of like any other groups. They're just paying attention to the orc slayers down there.
Yeah, the orc slayers, and then the fallen bird man thing.
Bird man. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna just keep an eye on them. I don't.
Okay.
I'm not sure how far that is.
So let's say about another turn passes, so about another 10 minutes pass, and Elanion, strangely, these things stay there for a little bit. They communicate with each other, in that kind of gesturing way, and then they seem to retreat. They seem to move away back to the south, and then once they get further, along, you can see the little bulbous blue heads and their wobbling kind of ears disappear beyond the crest of the southern hill. You're not sure where they've gone.
I think I'll make my way over there and see if I can pick up their trail.
Sure. I think you're probably faster than what they are, so we'll say that in the time that's the guys down with this bird thing have been dealing with them, you're able to make your way down to the bottom of the hill and up to the top, and you can see that they're making their way through. You see they're a little further ahead, and they're scampering off back to the south in some direction. They're headed off in to the south, and I think that maybe there's nothing that's dropped here, so they seem to be heading back almost due south. I'm not sure that they're making, they're not necessarily, making a huge mess or whatnot, but they're not really making an effort to conceal their tracks. It's either because they didn't think to, but there is a trail that you may be able to follow here. So we'll leave Elanion at the top of that hill, cut back down to you guys. What's been going on here? This thing its breathing has become much slowed. Its eyes are still trained on Calidor. Calidor, what do you do with that thing that it handed you?
It's like I guess I'll open it. I'm assuming it's something he wants me to read or look at.
If you start trying to open it up, its eyes get a little panic, and it kind of and it repeats the word again. Serene.
Okay, I'll take it and put it in my pack then.
It is breathing more comfortably again.
Obviously, it wants us to
Bring it to Serene. Do you guys know who Serene is?
I think that's somebody that we encountered previously, right?
We
In a session
have
that
not
I was
encountered,
that we heard of.
but Gerald, one of the rangers, knows her, and she's some sort of. There's something mystical and bird-like about her.
Oh,
I remember.
Okay.
Kuiper and Geralt. Kuiper, the ranger who lives near Hogbrook, and Geralt in Milborn. They seem to both be familiar with and communicate with Serene.
Okay. So that's a good way to at least find out where she is.
makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
What he says
is it bleeding out? Is these seem to be internal injuries? Like, is there any obvious, not being a medic of any kind or knowing anything about that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Do I see any obvious signs of what's causing it to die right now in this moment?
Well, I think that what you can see is there's dried, caked blood from around where its wounds were. So, like, this thing's been bleeding out for quite some time.
I see.
It again speaks to sort of, if this thing's still around, like if this was an animal, it's an incredible force of will that this thing is not dead at this point.
Yeah.
Just with the injuries, not only from the arrow, but also from the fall that it eventually took here. One thing, I mean, like just as I think a thing you would observe as a tracker, it would be a really convenient a place for this thing to come to a rest if it was shot and then hit like the only pool of water that would be visible from the air.
Oh, so it like crash landed here or something, we're thinking.
Well, if the thought was like the initial thought you guys had was that this thing may get shot and then hit the ground after it was shot. If that was indeed the case, boy, what a lucky shot to have it land right near where because you haven't passed in the 3 hours or so that you had been traveling through the Patchwork Hills, you haven't seen another one of these pools of water.
So obviously it was already thirsty and malnourished and all of that, and it was probably spotted this pond and was heading towards it when it was ambushed. has a random.
Or it went flying for a lot longer than we first thought with the arrow stuck in it.
That makes sense, Bergour.
And just kind of lost control at the end.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, do I think that it's on its way out at this point?
If this, like it. I think that if Elanion had any insight into this, the amount of injuries this thing has seemed to have suffered, how is it not dead already?
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my cantrip spell that I get to do once a day,
and use it.
And I'm actually, I'm actually going to create images of other creatures of its type by looking at what it looks like, and kind of have them floating over its head and spiraling around each other, like doing a little dance, just to sort of, if it's losing its life, to kind of give a last moment of beauty to it.
Yeah. It squawks out some other word as it's looking at this stuff. And the word means, it doesn't, again, mean anything to you. Its language is completely foreign to all of your ears. But it clearly is just, I think you guys are clever enough and proficient enough with other languages to recognize it as a language. It's not just like making animal noises. There is a meaning behind that stuff. And
do we get a sense if it's like annoyed or feeling?
No, it's
peaceful.
Since passing this thing over to the elf, it seems to have a feel. There's a feeling of relief that has washed over this thing. It's definitely, it's not twitching in that spasmodic, pained way that it was before. And I think
Kalidor says, I think it was on a mission to deliver this message, and now knowing that there's a chance that this message will make it to Serene, it can die in peace.
Right. And Knox will kneel down next to it, and if as long as it doesn't object, put a hand on it, just as to give it one last bit of contact with another sentient person.
This thing is playing over. I think Elanion, let's bring you back down into the scene. You've sort of are you intent on trying to follow the goblins right now, or were you just trying to see where they're going? And
I was just trying to see if maybe we could track them if we so desired.
Sure.
And I was also going to see if if they came from the south, got to where they are, stopped, and then headed back south, or were they already to the north? You know what I'm saying? Where they were at, does it go farther down the hill, or did the trail stop there? Or
their trails, they're not following an actual trail per se. They're bushwhacking over here too, but you will be able to follow their tracks to get further south. Yeah.
So I want to go see how far north they actually went. Did they come up here, stop because they found something, and then left now?
Yeah.
Or
they seem to have been traveling along here, and they've made their way to up here, and then they backtracked down. That's where their tracks have come.
So I mean, it wouldn't be a huge leap, even though it could be a leap, I guess, that they were coming here and then they found this and now they're headed back somewhere to report in or something.
The blue skin, just to give you the context of this as well too, blue skinned goblins are weird, not only for this region but in general. Goblins have the hue, the hue of their skin, or the color of their skin, goes between kind of dark greenish through to an ochre or yellowish kind of color. The ones that you've encountered thus far from the Great Rockdale, they've all had that ochre yellowish kind of color to them.
Okay.
So that's another unusual thing around here.
I was just, like I say, what I was really trying to figure out is maybe were these guys looking for this creature and found it, and since we were here, they left, or they definitely were coming from the south, headed north, stopped, and then headed back south, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess I'm going to join the others and let them know that...
So as the kind of local or resident naturalist as well, too, this thing definitely may have been here, too, although it looks like maybe a day or so at the most. What would have been here for longer, the pool of water. It's a feature of the geography, so anytime there's more rain and whatnot too, this is a thing that keeps it in the same way that an old gravel pit would keep pools of water in it.
So this might be a source of water for creatures around here?
Possibly.
Okay.
So Well, as you're making your way back down, what you see is that Knox is now kind of on his knees with this thing, its head kind of like resting on his knees, and he's touching its throat. Its breath has slowed and is more even. There is a beautiful kind of display of these birds that are kind of, or the bird men or whatever that's above it. And Caldor, what are you doing? And Bergour, what are you doing as Elanion comes back down?
I think I'm just sort of letting Knox do this and not disturbing the scene.
Okay.
Sort of giving him the respect that this poor creature.
Sure. It keeps its eye kind of on you as well, too. Bergour, what are you doing?
I think similar. Bergour might at one point suggest that if we wanted to ease this creature's passing, that we might remove the arrow. Because with puncture wounds, I think Bergour, even without much first aid experience, knows that that'll kind of free up the wound and let it bleed out and
Sure.
finish off.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do that, if you make your way over, there's its eye kind of follows you along to it, and then when you put your, I think you've recognized that there's intelligence behind this too, and you maybe put your big, gauntleted hand or gloved hand on it, or like kind of gesture towards it, and the eye remains steady on you. There's no panic, there's no whatever else. So after a moment of, there's a wordless kind of approval that happens between the two of you, and you take it on there, and then you wrench it out, and there's a last loud squawk from this thing. And you pull it out, and like the end of this thing is fucking vicious. Like, this is something that is designed to let things bleed out. There's horrible barbs that are sort of put in there as well. And you think some of the twines or the barbs are actually broken off, so there may be things left inside this creature. And once it stops again, it's as you think, like the blood starts kind of seeping out of this thing. But it once again gets, apart from that initial pained reaction, it calms itself again too. Its big grayed eye kind of closes and opens, the gray skin covering. And that's when it sees you coming down Elanion too. And its eye tracks you as you go over, and seeing its eye slowly, lazily moves from one of the elves to the other elves, and its eye closes. And over a span of maybe about 20 minutes, its breath slowly becomes less regular. The chest raises and falls slower with every intake and every exhale, until finally it reaches a point where you realize that it has probably been a minute or so since the creature has taken air in, and it lies still. It's probably about maybe mid-afternoon by the time all this happens. And I think that you probably, am I correct in thinking they all stood around in silence as this finally happens? So you all know that this has, or all at least recognize that this creature has passed when the display stops. And all you have is the sound of the wind. What happens next, guys?
Well,
I saw this, my friends. There were goblins
goblins, where?
headed back to the south.
They ran away?
Yes. I don't know if they came here to drink the water from the gravel pit or what, but they were here and they're gone. We could track them if we wish, but I do have some trepidation that they may bring more.
Yes, that makes sense. And we are off course anyway. We, if we leave now, perhaps we will, avoid any party that may return with them.
Are they known to associate with the gnolls?
That's a good question.
No.
You haven't heard anything.
Okay, not
Yeah.
to our knowledge, basically.
No, your characters haven't heard anything to that effect.
Okay.
I'm not sure you guys heard anything. You guys encountered that goblin corpse near that farmhouse, or at least the buried, head or whatever. I'm not sure you heard anything about goblins in the Patchwork Hills.
Other than they fought orcs.
Mm-hmm. Well, should we bury this creature in some way, or should we, create a cairn or something? Just
I
pile
think
rocks on
taking
it.
a few minutes to bury it would be respectful. It was clearly intelligent.
Yes, I agree. So either I don't know what the land is like around here, Kev, but if there's a way to dig,
The land's
or
fairly
if there's
flat
rock.
here, you know. And to be honest, like I mean, it's late afternoon, so you could keep traveling for a while now too. But if you're going to take the time to bury this thing anyway, this might be a perfectly fine place to make camp. I'd count it as natural cover for here if you want.
Oh. The
We're
problem is this is where the goblins saw us.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
So
Yep.
We could set some snares or something at the tracks where I know where they are. So
yeah, that's true. You know which way they went.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That would also
Okay.
work. Okay.
Yeah. I'm good with that.
So what are you thinking, guys?
it seems like a creature of the sky. Should we at least take it to the summit? I'm hesitant to leave it here where everything else goes.
Yes.
Yeah, let's carry
Yes,
it up to the
that's
high
right.
part of the hill and make a burial for it there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good idea, Elanion.
Yes.
So unfortunately, because of the terrain here, it's probably a little difficult getting because of the way they describe the vegetation kind of being grown over and whatnot. It's probably going to take the majority of the afternoon to get enough stuff together to kind of create this. Are you intending on creating like a pyre, or are you?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I like that idea.
So one thing that Elanion will tell you, then again, just by virtue of the amount of proficiencies you've got with that, it is going to smoke like a motherfucker, just because of how wet it's been.
Yep. So definitely alert anybody nearby to our presence
Well,
Yeah. I don't say that
Well,
to
then-
tell you not to do it. It's just that just so you're aware that that is what will happen. Although if you're doing it, if you set the pyre at night, smoke at night's really going to do very little.
here. Yeah. And
The
maybe
fire,
that's-
however,
yeah,
would
we
be
can
really...
wait until we're gonna go to bed and light it.
Okay.
Well, let's at least get it up to the top of the hill as step one.
Okay. That's relatively easily done. However, in spite of this thing being fairly large, it weighs a surprisingly little amount.
Mm-hmm.
This thing, the whole thing altogether is maybe like 90, 98 pounds.
Wow.
It's very easy for you guys to move this thing to the top of the hill.
Yeah.
I could see burning its javelin with it, but do we burn its garments as well? I mean, it's
Right.
travel gear.
Well, or should we? I don't know how big it is, but sorry,
I was just saying. I mean, maybe if we could figure out how much food it has, we could figure out how far away it came from or something.
Well, it seemed like it was starving, that it had gone through whatever food it might have had.
True that. True
Yeah.
that.
But I wonder if we should potentially take these garments and deliver them to Serene as well, because maybe they're heirloom type,
Yeah,
you know,
for all we know.
items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely looks like a personalized, a personalized thing. Like there's certain flourishes that are in there. There's birds. Or perhaps like these bird people that are kind of designed in there. Feathers are a popular thing. Clouds.
I mean, certainly very well crafted. So
Yeah.
I think if we can, we should deliver that as well, so it can go back to its people.
I like the idea of a funeral pyre and letting its ashes return to the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Fell.
There is.
And
Yeah.
if something sees it, so be it. I mean, we can evade anything like that we need to, and perhaps this creature seemed to be honorable and strong constitution and deserves whatever sees it. It's fine.
I agree fully with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys recover. It takes a little while to figure out how to unhook this thing because it's clearly designed by a people that are familiar with their physiognomy. But it's a terrible example, but like trying to put a strange dog harness on a dog, where you're just like, how the fuck does this thing get on here?
Yeah.
But once you figure it out, you're able to kind of unhook the places you need to and get the whole thing off. And it's a surprising amount of gear or things that are on here. There's like it's an inhuman equivalent of like the fire starting stuff, and it's not like a tent or something like that, but like a fish hook maybe. And would there be that? No, probably not. I'm trying to think of how it would hunt. Like, it would probably hunt from the air anyway. The javelin itself it's got the grips that are on it, but it's something that you could likely wield, and it does seem to be of a fairly impressive make as well too. This is not something that is just like someone grabbed off their rack or whatnot. It is a very personalized. The wrappings on it are relatively new, but the wood, you can tell, is well worn, almost smooth, with hands that have held this thing. The head on this, which is affixed in a kind of like with the steel head is on there and then put in. The head itself is very well maintained. There's some dirt from where this thing came crashing to the ground, but the impression is that it's a very, very well made spear tip with a very well used shaft and recently reworked grips on it as well.
Is there anyone who would like to wield this weapon in honor of this creature to fight off the beast we may encounter until we return it to its kin? It's not something I can.
Does anyone have
wield,
any?
Of course.
Like, you've got blacksmithing, right, Bergour?
Yeah.
Give me a blacksmithing check, will you? Please.
Will do.
Nice.
That's a success.
Okay, so what you can tell, it's a very well made spear tip. So to the point where if you wielded this would give it's not magical, but the hardened steel and the well maintained tip and point of this thing would give +1 to hit.
That's cool.
The other thing, let's see here. Okay, give me a sec here. I'm gonna check one thing.
I mean, I'm sure it would want us to do whatever we needed to reach Serene. So if this can help us and one of you wishes to wield it, I think it would have liked us to do that. I don't think it's dishonoring this creature.
Right.
So attached to the waist of this thing as well too, you realize are two kind of like wood vials. So they're made of wood that have been like smoothed and shellacked and whatnot, and you could kind of think of them as like, imagine like a wooden like shot glass, but sealed on top with some kind of wax. Perhaps the same wax that was used to seal the thing you had. Within, you can feel as you're taking it off, you can see them move around, and if you touch them, there's some kind of liquid in each of them.
I'd say not a healing potion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and way too late. Well,
And far too small to be like a water skin of some kind.
Yeah, we could give those to Serene. She might know what they are.
and Kev, how are you running? Like, potion detection. Like, can you
I
sip
am
things
just checking
and
it right now. As a general rule, potion containers should bear no identifying marks, so player characters must sample from each container to determine the nature of the liquid inside.
Right.
Dave Cook is a match. Is it Dave Cook? Who
Yeah,
guided
Zeb.
second
Zeb,
edition?
yeah.
Zeb Cook.
Yeah.
Man from my own heart. However, even a small taste should suffice to identify a potion in some way. Introduce different sorts of potions, both helpful and harmful, to cause difficulties in identification. In addition, the same type of potion, when created in different labs, might smell, taste, and look differently.
Yeah, so you basically, you might get poisoned
Identify
and
color?
die.
Yep.
I mean, if you had spell identify, would it be able to know or no?
A spell identify would, but remember this is AD&D identify, which kicks the shit out of you for a
con.
good day or so. Yeah.
Yeah, which I do have that spell in case we really need it, but
A con penalty when you're traveling is a real,
exactly.
yeah, real bad.
That's my reticence at the moment. I can do it when we get back to some kind of civilization, but I would be willing to sample it again. Knox is definitely a reckless guy, so he'd be willing to do stuff like that. So, considering the fact that this creature that's had sort of a noble bearing was carrying this, I don't think it's going to be harmful. So, sort of a educated guess that
I
be
think
bad.
that's a pretty good guess. That
Poisons his blade or something.
Or it's possible.
Okay.
But I got to play my low wisdom. So.
Okay. What I'm gonna need is, let's see here.
Death saving throw. Okay, here we go.
Yes. Wood. Let's see here. So it's Knox and Elanion were the ones searching. Why don't Hobbs and George, each of you give me a D1000 roll, please.
Ooh.
whoa.
Interesting. This is how many hit points we get. Cool.
Totally. Because, I mean, what sick bastard would make you roll a D1000 on damage?
George, you started to figure out my technique with Cav.
That's right. I've been paying attention.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. First one. Okay. And let's see here. Okay, let me... Where are... I am making use of my parents' birthday present from last year, which was the Encyclopedia Magica.
Nice. Those are great books.
Yeah, they had a full set at a gaming store in Winnipeg when I was visiting. And
those are hard to find.
they are
For a good price.
And actually it was they're good, relatively good shape and totally reasonable price, given the how tricky it is to track them down.
Yeah.
And then actually my buddy Greg from Sentry Box, he's the one who helped me flush out the two books the two sets on priest and wizard spells too.
Awesome.
So pretty awesome. Okay. Let's see here.
He's the one who used to play with us, right?
He is, yeah. It's just he's been working every evening. I'm hoping to see him back.
We haven't played with him for a long time.
No, I know. He's been working like a dog.
But it sounds like a great store. I wish we had one like that around here, which we just don't.
Or you guys just come and visit Calgary.
Well, that can happen.
It's a pretty fucking awesome store. Definitely worth the trip.
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on. Got my potions, got my oils. What do we got here? Okay. So, I did not randomly generate treasure ahead of time because what DM would do that? Come on. Where's the surprise in that?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things is you sip it and kind of spit it out because it's actually an oil. It's very oily. What this is an oil of citronella. And what this oil does is it grants you +3 to your charisma for 24 hours.
Wow.
That's cool.
Cool.
Okay. And then the other was a... Oops, I was looking at the same darn thing again. What is this here? That'll be in Volume 2. Okay. And the reason I wanted to use these, not only to actually make use of them, is because these books consolidate like every magic item from in the game from 1970, whatever it is, 77 up until 1975 up until 1995.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of real oddball stuff that's in here that I think is pretty Pretty cool. And it makes for definitely a more unique, treasure haul than just like, oh, I got a potion of healing, I got a, +1 sword.
What?
The way our combats go, potion of healing is not something to be sniffed at.
Or a +1 sword. We would take
Yeah.
either of those items.
Yeah.
Lies, citronella.
Yeah.
I mean, you put it like face, you put it like behind your neck or on your hands.
Yeah, I'm picturing it's like I think of all of us, Hobbs will be able to give the best insight as to the use of aromatic oils.
Yeah, it's like citronella.
Yeah.
I'm just like, charisma bonus. I mean, is it like a pheromone thing?
Probably a magical pheromone.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, so this last thing. Wow, is so. This is actually like you sip this thing and then it again kind of spit it out. So guys, this is a really unusual product. It's something akin to like a pigment of heroism. So you become like an avatar of some kind, manifesting, and you can picture it's gonna be some kind of like, avian featured hero of some kind. This must be applied at specific points of the body. But when done, it transforms you into, for a 24-hour period, transforms you into a 7th level, what is equivalent to a 7th level ranger with an AC of 4, a +3 longbow, and 56 hit points.
Oh my god.
Holy shoots!
Yeah.
I'm already better than that.
You only have... yeah, there's only a single use of this that's in this tiny little vial. But clearly this is sort of like it must be some very valuable, resource of this thing's tribe to use it to really, become a... I don't know, like the personification of perhaps like a past hero of some kind or something like that. But yeah, not bad. So...
No, that's awesome.
So what are you guys... Let me quickly write down what this thing actually was as well. Ooh. So I don't forget. The pigment itself is of a emerald green. So, apart from that, there's really, I think there are, let's see here. There is the 7 silver pieces of strange denominations that you don't recognize. They're clearly of human make, but it's a currency that you guys are not familiar with. Certainly not from the region. And apart from that, just sort of like odds and ends of that are just personal effects. No doubt, this creature brought along with it was only the things it needed in order to achieve its mission, and then some resources, no doubt, granted to it by the what do you call it? By the by its people. Oh, it's centronella, not citronella. It's not like a doo-doo coil. It's burning. Okay, so then what? Now, have you guys decided to actually give this thing a pyre, or are you just setting it out kind of on the, on the highest point and letting the nature run its course?
I mean, I think we should do
we were
something.
gonna light a fire.
Okay.
Fire.
Okay. So yeah, centronella. That's correct, Hobbs. The way you got it there.
Oh, that's not- I think we don't want to leave. I mean, who knows what could come across the body and do some horrible thing to it. So.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I think the sun is down by the time you guys have finished building all that stuff, and you will be setting up your camp in the dark. Although 3 of you have infravision, so I think you're fine. I was writing down on your calendar what's happened. That evening, what happens, guys? You set this thing, it is blazing away. It takes a little bit of effort to get things going, but I think, Elanion, you're used to starting fires in wet conditions, so you, with some effort and determination, you're able to get it burning. And this thing blazes like a roaring fire in the darkness, consuming this thing. None of you guys are particularly religious-oriented, I don't think. At least you're not part of a church. No one's got training or proficiency in any religion.
Nope.
Stuff, no. So then, tell me about what do we see as you guys are going down and making your camp? And where are you making your camp? Is it right next to this water? Is it a little further back?
First, I want to just ask Elanion, you had mentioned potentially setting some kind of traps or something like that in case these goblins return. Do you think that's still a good idea to do up here before we make camp, or should we not worry about it?
Oh, you might be muted, Hobbs. Sorry.
All right. Yes, I just realized it just as you said it. I was wondering if so the hill that they left on was the opposite one, so we're on a different one, and probably exactly finding that trail in the night isn't necessarily going to be easy.
Right.
But I say, why don't we can stay here with the pyre for a little while, and then maybe set up camp, a little ways away from it. Our birdman friend was heroic, but he shouldn't be our deaths.
One thing I will tell you is that because of the change in temperature as well, too, it's remarkably warm tonight. It probably only dips down to maybe about 68 Fahrenheit, so about 18 degrees, Jeff. And in the humidity, it keeps that heat going. So, in spite of the wind, in spite of whatever else, it's still pretty warm here, too. So in terms of where there's no rain and there's hot weather, I don't think you guys need to set a tent tonight if you don't want to.
Okay.
I love
sounds good to me.
That's an application of the rules from Wilderness Survival Guide, by the by.
Nice.
I'm thinking about what your personal temperature is, and I'm like, actually, I think you guys are good. You could sleep out in the exposed to the elements. There may be some bugs and stuff like that you're exposed to, but you're exposed to every night when you're camping.
We use citronella oil.
That's
You are super charming to the bugs.
right.
Okay.
They get charming out of that.
So what are what happens for the evening then?
Well, so it sounds like we're gonna move a ways away.
Okay.
What kind of distance, Elanion, do you think we should put between us and it? Like go to another hill, or?
I don't know. Honestly, does it really matter if something's drawn by the fire? It could find us just as easily on another hill as it could there.
That's true.
Knox, when you're navigating or when you're following along with these guys, do you light a torch or a lantern or anything like that, or do you have a light spell?
I do not have a light spell. And cantrips can't duplicate any kind of spell, so can't do anything that would really give any effective light.
Yep.
So I either have to, depending on what the rest of the party wants to do, like put my hand on the shoulder of somebody in front of me, or I would need a torch or something.
So I'm not super concerned about you losing track of them. There's still scattered cloud in the sky, so there is going to be some moonlight. But I can tell you from past experience that having navigated the Badlands, the Alberta Badlands, in moonlight at the insistence actually of one of our old players, Jeff, Dave. Dave insisted on fucking hiking in the things. Like, it is so easy to turn an ankle or something like that in there because you just can't see well enough. The other guys will not have that difficulty because of dark vision, because of infravision. Knox, unless you're lighting a torch, what I'm going to ask you to do is to give us a dexterity check.
Okay.
Can someone piggyback him?
What's that?
Could someone piggyback him?
You could, yeah, if you want. I'll make a con check to avoid exhaustion from that, because you're carrying around an extra encumbered dude.
That's a pretty serious.
And all his gear as well too. For that
I'm not bad Dexterity wise.
And to avoid that, like your character would know that like one or two steps, you're like, shit, like I'm gonna trip over some of this overgrown, the foliage or whatnot, or I'm gonna, to have put my foot down on a piece of rock that's gonna turn. You could light a torch or light a lantern to avoid all of this if you've got one.
I don't have a lantern. I have 10 torches.
Okay.
I say we just move off 100 yards and not worry about it. He could put his one arm on each side of Calidor and Elanion.
It's not following along. That doesn't help him with placing his feet.
I think
arm over our shoulders and hold him up. That's what I was saying.
I see.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Kind of carry me. I mean, it's up to you guys. I obviously don't weigh much, and I don't have much gear.
Yeah.
So I would either try to put my 2 arms around them and
Sure.
allow them to do that.
I'll give you advantage on it. Go ahead and give me make 2 dexterity checks. Take the best of the
Okay.
2.
Here we go.
I like it.
So here's the first one.
Okay. Boom.
What's it
You're
say?
good. Yeah, you're good. So
Okay.
yeah, you're and I mean, it would not have been like you trip and break your neck and you're dead or anything like that. Like it would have just been I think maybe a temporary penalty for your movement.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all fair.
So
Great.
So I mean, you guys may move 100 yards off, and then what kind of camp do you make here, guys? You have a campfire. Campfire you need for normally 2 things. You need it for cooking food, and you need it for warmth. You do not need it for warmth tonight, and if you're willing to
all
eat,
got iron rations.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
okay. So no campfire tonight.
No, darkness, I guess.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Then.
I think-
But we are setting watches, just
Yeah.
to be clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Oops.
Go ahead, Hobbs.
I won't be as helpful to you guys, obviously, in that regard. Unfortunately, without being able to.
Oh,
see.
we can just have the 3 guys with dark vision do the watches and have Knox get some extra sleep.
That, or I can accompany somebody if that's helpful.
Hobbs, you were trying to say something?
Yeah, I was just Elanion is going to ask if anyone knows any stories of bird people or anything like that, because the coins were far enough away that it sounds like this person came from a good distance to bring this message. So I didn't know if I don't really know where anyone's from or anything like that, but I was just curious about it, if anyone knew, or if they had any stories about any people that they had known that had passed in their area that they never really knew, but still could tell that his story was maybe something greater.
Yeah. Bergour, why don't you give me an intelligence check, please? There's a chance you might have. I'm gonna apply a penalty here to it, but let's see.
My intelligence is 13.
It's 13. So, you've heard of tribes of bird kind of folk, that have, and like non-malicious. There's flying things that you guys are aware of that are awful, like harpies, but you've heard the sort of in the wildest regions of the mountain peaks where there are these bird people that kind of live. You've heard in legends. There's they've been featured in some kind of story or something like that. Not as something that is part of the civilized world or the civilized kind of species or races. The dwarves, the elves, the gnomes, halflings, humans. Maybe that's something that's stepped out of legend into your land here. None of the legends have spoken of these things as being malicious, though.
Mm-hmm.
Nor have they spoken of them as being unintelligent.
Do we think these are the same bird creatures that people have spotted, or is that something else?
Seems like the most likely thing is that this or others of its kind are the strange birds that have been spotted over the Patchwork Hills.
That's the most likely, you think? It seems like the most unlikely to me, but because of
Since it seems like anybody looking for birds in the Patchwork Hills would recognize most any other, right? That if all they could say was it's something strange and bird-like.
Maybe.
I'm not sure. I just don't know either way.
Yeah, we may just not have enough information. Perhaps we should just turn in then.
Do we want to open up I know it didn't want us to open up the message thing. Is there any chance that we want to see if we can figure out what the scroll tube actually says?
Well, we could at least examine the exterior of it to see if there's anything of note to start with.
Sure. There are some scratches and stuff that are kind of made into the side, but it's hard to tell whether they are they're like some kind of language you just don't recognize. There's certainly not an alphabet that you would see, and you can't tell whether it's just like an alphabet that you don't recognize or don't understand, or whether it's just like
symbols.
Yeah, like or like the weather, the regular wear and tear. This creature had pretty big talons on its hands, as well as much larger talons on its feet. So it's not, maybe this handling this thing, it would have made those marks on it.
Right.
So if there are words on the outside of this thing, the words are very faint.
Okay.
It may be something that is more like a waterproof kind of like swaddling around whatever is inside.
Oh, I see. I mean, this is Knox speaking. I'm afraid to open it or unravel it for fear it might damage whatever is inside.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I was just putting it out there as a...
no, I think it was good to
option.
investigate it. Yeah, to see if we could find out anything. But it seems not worth the risk.
Okay. So, what are anything else you guys wish to do with this thing's belongings? I guess one question I've got is, what are you guys doing with those two vials? The things that had that tribal paint, and the thing that had the oil in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should decide who might be carrying those. Neither of them seem like things that Knox would need.
I wrote both of them down in the party loot in case we want to just say that they're not on any of us, but on one of the absent.
That means that I won't be able to make you guys make item saves when you guys take damage. And where's the fun in that?
I can say that ruins the game for Kevin. So
Stop ruining my fun, guys.
Yeah.
With your completely reasonable
Yeah.
choices.
Well, specifically, the oil of Cintronella, it seems like that would be good for Rillaho, since he's our talkie high charisma guy already.
True. Yeah.
He doesn't need it then.
Well, he could be
That's
even more charismatic. Next time he wants to try to talk some farmer woman into letting us stay the night in their barn.
I mean, the good thing about that item is that it's not something that comes up in the midst of chaotic combat, and somebody has to, just pull it out of their pack to down it. So we could say that he's got it for now, and then if somebody else needs it, can always take it from him. But what about this pigment of heroism, which is pretty freaking cool?
It doesn't seem like it's an instantaneous thing.
You do need to apply it. Yeah.
I would think one of you warrior types would want it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess it technically. Oh, I wonder if it can only be used. Hold on, let me double check it.
I think that it is only used by fighter types, but I could be wrong.
Let me take a look here. This is the
The pigment of heroism.
The pigment of heroism. Let's see here. It's a good thing I wrote down what it actually is in the thing here. Let's see here. This is kind of, like what I've learned from our Ash campaign is why it's totally fucking okay to give you guys these kind of items. right? Like this is something that is way above what your levels are, but this is the kind of interesting, like what you guys will choose to do with this is what makes this kind of.
I love
awesome.
yeah, I love weird consumable items.
Yeah.
Because they're not overpowered. You use it once and use them in some crazy circumstance, and it makes it really memorable and interesting. So, yeah, I agree.
Can't see here. I don't think there's any restriction on using it, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys are free to...
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it permanently makes you blue, but I mean, apart from that, it's... no, I'm kidding.
Woad.
Yeah, woad, exactly. Green woad. Okay. So then, that evening... Let's see here. That evening.
And, oh yeah, it's 24 hours.
So let's see here.
Sorry.
Let me make a check here. Uno, Knox.
Yes.
Knoxy boy.
I am not on a watch, just to remind you, because I have no vision.
Oh, is that what's happening, guys?
Yes.
Knox is
Yeah,
being allowed
just
to sleep?
the 3 guys with dark
Okay.
vision are
Then
gonna.
Calidor, would you kindly give me a D10 roll?
Make it now.
Okay, here we go. 4.
Fantastic. And fantastic, they are not surprised. So I get to use one of my... Once again, back to the DMG. Love me the DMG. Now, it's not to speak ill of the other DMGs, but you know what? 2 editions of DMGs I have read the most is 2nd and 4th.
Oh, interesting.
I loved the 4th edition, both DMGs they released. Tons of great ideas in there.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Give me a sec. I heard a noise.
I was a consultant on that 2nd DMG.
Were you really?
I have a little credit in there, yeah.
Fuck yeah, George! That's awesome.
It's fun.
It is. The second that's the one that reset the difficulty classes, the DCs for the thing, and it had tons of great advice in there. I'll be right back.
And a lot of story stuff too, which is fun. I don't know about that pigment of heroism. It also has to be applied, obviously, so that's going to take some time. So it's going to be something more deliberate that when we use it, it's not going to be like just suddenly somebody's going to stick it on. So I think I would feel more comfortable with somebody who is more likely to survive to hold on to it. So me, AKA not me, between the recklessness and the low HP.
Well, it's not. Your HP isn't that low, right?
Actually,
It's
my
5.
AP is not great. It's because my con is 16, so I rolled a 3. But
Well, I was gonna say
con
we've
is
got a
like-
lot of 5 HP guys.
But
Already.
my
So
my
really
AC,
nice.
my AC is not
Yeah.
anything to write home about. So
The for those listening at home, we have a puppy in our house, and when I don't see her in her usual spot, my son's at work tonight. I just want to make sure I know what she's up to.
yeah, that makes sense.
And she was fine. She was not in her beanbag chair. That's all. Here we go.
That's how my wife treats me. So
What is he up to?
when I'm not in my usual spot in front of my desk playing a game, she's like, "Is everything okay?"
So no surprise here in hills. Interesting. Scrub. Pretty good. Pretty good. Oh man. Oh man. So let me get this set down here. And we said it was Calidor who is
Did we
my
say
victim,
that?
right?
Let's review the tape.
Okay, so boy oh boy. I randomly generated how far away they are as well. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Work with me. Work with me. Okay. And boom. Okay, guys. So Calidor, what I'm going to get you to do is to you'll be rolling initiative here because what you hear as you're sitting around, I think you hear the sound of the wind blowing through the I guess not canyons, but they're kind of like coulees, I think, because it's not they're slightly built up. I guess they're canyons, kind of that may work their way through the hills, and there's the sound of the blowing wind that runs through all of them. You're listening to the sound, I guess, of maybe there's the odd owl that is out hunting in the evening. Your keen elven ears are certainly able to pick that up, and you hear the sound of a stone or two being disturbed. This is not the kind of terrain where you hear the, every footstep sends a bunch of like scree skittering down the valley. Let me bring you over here, guys. So here we go. You're right here. Now, it's not as barren and desert as what the terrain is here. This is just what I had on hand. But you guys are at the base, kind of in the middle, the driest point of this point between two different hills that go up on either side. To the south, we'll say, is where the watering hole is. But as one of the things goes down, you can hear the sound of a low growl.
Not again.
And you look over, and what you see in 3, 2, 1.
Bears.
Some very feral and vicious looking canines of some kind. Not wolf-like. More like savage, wild dogs. That have made sort of formed a pack off in these barren hills. Perhaps the offspring of dogs chased off from the flooded farms. Now, what I need you to do, Calidor, is decide what you're going to do for your first round here. And then you need to beat my 9. And just as a
that's
reminder,
not what the 4 was? I was just surprised.
The initiative roll, that was your first D10, that was for surprise, yeah. And neither you nor these things were surprised, which is why I rolled random terrain-based difference. One cool thing in second is, and this may be the case in first as well, but I know in second, if you're surprised or one of the parties is surprised, you're like super close, like between 4 and 24 feet away. If neither party is surprised, then you go to the terrain features and you figure out from that and from the time of day and whatnot to figure what distance it would be. Because of how condensed and closed in this area is, it's like 20 feet away. I rolled really, really low for this as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, I can use the stats for Shadow Dragon, right? That'll be
Basically the same.
Yeah. Okay. So, 4 of these things are lurking at the edge of your camp. Somehow they managed to sneak their way this close in, but your keen watch has spotted them now. So what were you thinking of doing and I guess first off, what did you have that was ready? Like, what, did you have your bow with you? Did you have your sword out?
I probably would have my sword sheathed and just have my bow like resting in my lap, kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's ready to draw and go. So then, I guess the question is, Calidor, what are you doing with your turn?
And everyone else is asleep?
Everyone else is dead asleep.
Okay.
Ooh, unfortunate phrasing.
That's, exactly.
I will, who's closest to me? Probably Bergour. I will shake Bergour awake.
Okay. One interesting point of fact, if there had been a fire, it may have affected the animals' morale.
Huh.
Of course, might also have alerted humanoids to our presence, but you know.
Gotta pick your
That's
poison. Okay, so then you, Bergour, you are kicked awake, and you are a trained warrior. You know what this means. It is not the like wake you up kind of kick. This is the fuck we're in trouble kick. So you are awake, and with that, I think that they unfortunately get to act, and they're so close. All right. Physically incapable of moving tokens without making sounds. I don't have a like T at hand too, so I can't really try to make dog sounds because it'll ruin my throat. Now, Elanion, what is your armor-based AC? No dex.
6.
6. Okay. Okay. So this thing is nearly on you. You are jerked awake, and what I'd like you to do is give me a D10 roll. See if you're surprised for the next round, or you're able to act. Nice. Yep, you're able to act next round. Bergour, you're awake, so I will give you you're going to get a bit of a penalty from being prone, but you do get your dex based or dex defense bonus if you have it. What's your AC?
Do I get my shield?
No, you won't have your shield ready yet.
All right. Then it is a 4.
4. Okay, so I just hit. So this thing gets a hold of you and starts like tugging at you, and the kind of like what do you call it? The grinding of its teeth against you. You take 5 points of damage.
Oh,
yeah.
Jeez.
Caldor, you get your full AC bonus against this.
Oh, great.
So what's your AC? You know, you don't need to tell me. There's no way that hit.
Okay, good.
So this thing gets in, and you're able to keep a distance, but it's right engaged with you. And then Knox, what's your AC with your armor spell?
With my armor spell, it actually is a 6.
A 6, okay. It's not terrible. Oh, and one thing that we were saying with the because it gives you a AC equal to your Bergour, make sure you apply your DR against that.
Yep, you're right.
Yep. We're saying that the armor spell also gives you a DR 1. George. Oh, George, you are hit. Well,
Yeah,
not you,
that's
but Knox is.
Yeah, but I feel it.
Yeah. Come on, roll low, roll low, roll low. Wow.
20 points of damage.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it is 8 points of damage, though.
Okay.
So, Knox, you're just... this thing grabs you, like, right by the collarbone and just tearing and shaking you, and you are just... This has rendered you incapable of fighting at this point.
Yes.
So that is
a point of astonishing fortune. Oh, no. Shit.
You can say
Wrong
you
game.
spend it to not die. Unfortunately, you can't negate hits in this one. So then, Knox is being attacked by this thing. That is the end of the round. Bergour is awake, Caldor is awake, Elanion is awake, and all of you will be able to act next round. So, Caldor, 1 initiative. Jeff, you are still in charge of initiative. Everyone decide what you want to do for next round. Jeff beat my
rest.
7. Good call.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. So add your things. I am acting on a 10, guys.
Was that previous round the first round, or is this the
was.
first round?
It's favorite round.
attack rate? Excellent.
But you got to pick up your weapon, though, right?
Well, I assume it's like I'm a trained warrior, so I've got to.
It's not a matter of touching it. Like, you need to get it and get it ready to use.
Oh, okay. Then that is still a 12.
Okay.
Shit.
12 for Caldor, 13 for 13 for Caldor, 12 for Bergour. Elanion, what are you?
I guess I'm using my dagger, I guess.
Okay. So you're drawing your dagger.
Sure.
Okay, so you're getting your dagger out. Bergour is getting his... so actually, Elanion go first, then it's the dogs. The dog that has Knox is going to start dragging him off.
I think I'm actually just going to cast a spell. That's a 1.
Are you? Okay. Yeah, what's the casting speed of the one you're casting?
1.
1. So you're up first. What are you doing?
I'm casting Fist of Stone again, so once more earth comes up and covers up his hand, dust, dirt crumbling off of it as he pulls it out of the earth.
Nice. And do you use your daily ability to give it the... Yeah, okay, so go ahead and roll, see how many rounds it'll last. So that happens, you're being... Knox is being dragged off at... I'm going to give it half speed for that. So it's 10... Knox, you go down by 1. Yep. You're at -4. Then, Hound on Elanion. Elanion, that is a hit.
Oh boy.
It doesn't interfere with your spell because your spell already went off, though. So, you take 4 points of damage.
Okay, so that's 3.
Okay, and then, let's see here, on Bergour, there's a miss. This thing is trying to get in at you, and you're able to get your battle axe interposed between you. Calidor, that is also a miss. Okay, so then Bergour is up next. You got your battle axe ready. I'll let you get to your feet as well, because you're spending your time getting the axe out.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, axe and shield up. And
Yep. And then Calidor, what are you doing?
Well, I want to change what I'm doing because this thing is right on me. I'm going to drop my bow and draw my longsword.
Okay. So you have your longsword ready. Excellent. Guys, that is the end of the round. Top of next round. Jeff, you're still in charge of initiative. I rolled, I am so sorry, a 1.
Uno.
Oh, 9. Shit.
All
right, Knox, you down by 1 more, and you are dragged a little further off into the darkness. Jeepers. The one with Elanion misses. Bergour, your AC is now currently what?
My AC is currently at 2.
2. That is a miss. I need a 15 to hit you. Jeez. Calidor, your AC is a 6 right now or a 7?
It's a 5.
Oh, 5. Fuck. Nice. Okay, so I need that. That is a... Oh, that's a hit. So, damage. This thing does able to get in on you. You take 3 points of damage.
Okay.
All right. Then, it is Calidor. You're up. What are you doing?
Well, I'm going to strike this thing back, hopefully.
Okay. We go.
Long sword.
Sorry, I go on 12.
On.
Okay.
Money.
Oh, sorry. And then, Eleni, you'll go next.
Oh,
minus
nice.
1 AC. Amazing. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay.
Come on. Big money.
Is this thing a small or medium? Yeah.
It is a small medium. Yeah. Medium.
Okay. All right.
Here comes. Ooh.
Cool.
Okay, so you tag this thing, and it kind of goes back, and it's only because clearly these things are driven by, like, feral hunger. You've barely come across any, like, living things in these hills up till now. So it's only by virtue of how hungry this thing is that it continues fighting. Elanion, you are up next. What are you doing?
So I'm going to use my fist and punch this creature and give out the cry of a angry dog with
Nice.
my oar.
Okay, so you snarl, snap at this thing. Let's see here. Big hit. It'll prompt you for a bunch of modifiers when you're clicking through your weapon.
I don't have a weapon because it's my fist.
Oh, but do you have the fist set up as a weapon?
No, I haven't done any of that.
Okay, so I need you to do that because that's the easiest. I don't want to be calculating THAC0 each time. If you set it up that way, then what it'll do is it'll tell us what AC you hit.
Oh boy.
Here, let me see if I can help you.
It's,
Hold on, Hobbs. Hold on, I'm not going to let you...
Oh, I have 2 weapons in. I just don't have my fist in.
Oh, okay, got it. What does the fist do damage-wise?
It's 1800 strength, so whatever.
Holy shit.
Oh, awesome.
That's huge. Holy.
Plus 3, plus 6 or some crazy thing.
Let's see, it's not on the screen, but I got my PHB with me. Okay.
+3, +6. Is that what it is?
1800
plus
plus
six,
3
yeah.
plus 6. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
That's awesome, is what that is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's 1d3 damage to both sizes normally.
Let's see here. I can't remember if it's even that much.
1d2.
A fist, a normal fist, it's 1d3 minus 1,
There you go.
basically. It's technically a table that has results from 0 to 2. So why they didn't call it 1d3 minus 1, I don't know.
Plus 1. And that's
There
for
we go.
damage larger than man size 2.
I think-
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
I
here we
get-
go. Big money. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Nice! That is a hit.
Awesome.
Go ahead and roll damage.
Oh, it's got a +1 in there for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Strength bonus +3. So it wouldn't have my regular strength.
No, it'd just be your 18-0, so plus 6 damage.
-1, maybe.
You could just do 1d3 plus 5
Plus-
if you want to roll that, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Now you got me going. It keeps adding a +1 in there for some reason. I don't know why. 1? That's not possible.
That can't
Yeah, it's not
be
possible.
right.
Oh, it's because you did plus 6 instead of just 6.
Oh, there you go. So if that's a 1, then it'd be 7 points of damage, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so 7 points of damage. Okay, so this thing yelps and kind of like doubles back almost the full body length from that one hit. It is quite badly hurt.
Awesome.
You think it may have fractured one of its front legs. Okay, then it is Calidor.
All right. Well, I want to try and finish this thing off before it finishes.
Caldor
me
just
off.
went.
Oh, did he? Oh, so forgive me, I'm going the wrong. And Bergour, you are up. What are you doing?
Oh,
Yeah.
wrong way.
All right, so I'm going to try to hit it.
Okay, here we go. Hit with axe.
Nope,
Yay.
not like that.
Oh.
I'm going to use an Astonishing Fortune because we have 4 of
You
them.
got
and haven't
4 of
used
them.
any.
Yep. Heck yeah.
And we need
That is a
better?
big hit. Yeah, big hit. Go ahead. Damage.
Nice.
Oh. Okay. So that is a lot of injury. Now let me see here. I am going to make... There is a tasty snack that's being dragged off right now, so its morale might break. They've already got something to eat.
Yeah.
Morale, okay. Let's see here. Nope, they're still sticking around. All right, then. Guys, that is the end of round 3. We're on to round 4, so more favorable attack rate, guys. And for those listening at home who may be curious of what we're doing here, this is a carryover from our Ash game. Rather than having each individual character track when they get to do multiple attacks, we just have them always happen on the even round for good guys and bad guys. Okay, now it's past to, I believe, Arlen, you're rolling? Beat my 7.
Okay. Nice.
5. Nice. I'm acting on a 10.
Oh, so am I.
Ooh.
Okay. You guys have... Oh, you're using a longsword, so it's at weapon speed 5, so you'll act after this thing. So first up is... Jeff, are you specialized with the longsword?
Yes.
So you actually should have 2 attacks this round with the longsword. Because it's your more favorite attack
Oh.
round.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because attack rate's 3-2 with that. Alright, but first up is Elanion. What are you doing?
All right. I'm going to punch with my fist of stone once more.
There you go. Oh, yeah. Knocks you down 1 more minus.
Yeah. And I'm at -6.
Okay. Here
Oh.
we go. Boom. Big hit. Yep. Roll damage.
This thing is still messed up. Oh, I know why. It's because I put the damage adjustment in there. I should
Well,
just-
also, because you put +6 instead of just a 6. Roll20's got this weird thing where if you put a plus modifier in, it fucks up the calculation. But if you just
No,
put...
it's because I put it in the damage adjustment when I shouldn't have, because we're doing it later.
Well, that maybe the plus thing also is something you don't want in there.
I'm not putting the plus in, I don't think.
Do not know.
I don't.
Wait, let's
Here,
click
let
on.
me look at it.
Yeah.
List of stone. Oh. No, so the damage, what you should do is instead of damage small, damage large with the pluses in there, you want to put those in damage adjustment because it doesn't know how to read that.
But it should only be a 5 in this instant, right? Because it's supposed to be a -1 or something.
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
This is right? 1d3.
Let's see here.
Here we go.
Come on, big money. Big money. that ain't right either.
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
1d3.
That it rolled
So-
a 3, and then it's adding a +0 from somewhere.
Okay.
Times 0.
Times 0.
But it's
So it added the 5, but it timed the 5 by 0, which is why it only came up.
That's
with
weird.
3.
Well, we'll sort of. We know that's if you roll a 3, that's 8 points of damage. What does it look like as you shatter this thing's skull?
With a sad but angry grimace, he comes down with a big bottom of his hand and just smashes its skull and its eyes.
So it yelps and it hits the ground completely still. Next up is the 2 remaining wild dogs. So we got 1 on Bergour. Bergour, you're full defense right now. You're at a 4, is that right?
2.
2, holy shit.
Awesome.
My goodness, that does not hit. It gets in, and again, it hits your armor, does not get through. Calidor, 5 right now, or 4?
5.
5, okay, here we go.
Big money.
That is a hit.
Oh, shit.
Well, I'm down as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
you take 3 points of damage, so you're at -2. And this thing is being and try and drag Calidor off next round. Then it is Calidor's down. Bergour, you're up. What are you doing? You see Calidor goes
Alright,
down.
I'm gonna try to hit the one in front of me, and then try to hit the one in front of Caldor.
Okay, here we go.
Cool.
AC 9.
You got Astonishing Fortune.
Okay, I'm gonna use it.
Yeah, definitely use it.
Nice, that's
Nice.
a big hit. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and roll damage.
2.
That is enough to finish
Cool.
this thing off.
Sweet.
Boom. Okay, and then what do you do?
So I can move half as part of my attack.
Correct.
Do I have to move now, or can I move as part of my second round action?
You can move, yeah, as part of your second round. Well,
Okay.
these things do not have any iterative attacks.
Oh, okay.
So you can go right ahead. Yeah, they only
All
have
right,
the
well,
one
then I will go right ahead.
bite. Thank you for checking, though.
Because, well, what I was thinking is if they had 2 attacks, that I could maybe avoid their second attack by moving on my second
right.
second attack.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Another to hit roll.
Go.
AC
Oh.
11.
Use
Got-
another. Use it.
All right, I'll use it. We're down to 1.
We got 2 down.
AC 0.
Big hit. Big hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
Oh, wow.
What does it look like as you take this thing down?
Well, I'm picturing it's about to, like, grab Calidor by the throat and drag him off, and
Yeah.
I just come down right in the middle of its spine and kind of pretty much cleave it in 2.
Amazing. So that is down. Elanion is on his hands and knees. Bergour is standing. That's when you guys look over, and about how many feet away is?
It looks like some 40 or 50.
Yikes.
Something like
Okay.
more than that.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I think he's out of our range of sight for everybody except Elanion, because we can only see 60 in the dark.
You can
Yeah.
probably hear it growling as well too.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can
Yeah.
tell that it's there.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just saying he's off into the
Um,
misty blackness.
You know what? But it's in. I said there was still moonlight. I think you can actually still see a distance in moonlight. Give me a sec here. Back to my wilderness survival guide. Because there's
Worst book ever.
visibility. Fucking best book ever. I don't know what you're talking about, Hobbs. God, I love this book. Where is it here? Visibility. Oh, hold on. Consolidated tables. Outdoor range of normal vision. Look at that. Moonlight. You can see 50 yards, 150 feet in moonlight.
Oh, good. So we get to watch Knox get eaten.
He's being slowly dragged off right now. All right, then Let's roll initiative, guys. Let's see who's dragging first, or whether you guys are going first. Beat my 9.
I rolled 6.
Okay, so knocks you down by one more.
Yeah, here we go.
And this
My
thing
minus
drags
7.
you about here, I guess.
Okay.
There. It's dragging you through the the gap there. Okay, so and then what are you guys doing?
Let's say help him, and I'll grab my bow and arrow and run.
Stand up?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't have to be prone.
Well, you were prone though, right, when you were fighting that thing?
I could. I mean, I can be standing and bring a hammer down on its
I agree,
face.
you can be, but you didn't tell me you stood up though.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I could have squatted when I created it. I didn't have to be ever
But
sitting.
you were sleeping. You were woken up,
Yeah,
right?
that's fine.
So yeah.
I don't know if I could be sleeping in cast or laying down in cast.
Oh yeah, you would have been sleeping. You've been hold on. You're an elf, so you would have been like meditating anyway. Yeah, I'll let you be up for free. So if you want to move this round, go ahead.
on his haunches.
And Bergour's up right now. So what are you guys doing? Remember, you can run.
I'm gonna check Caldor for signs of life because he just went all the way down.
Yeah. He's messed up, but he's not. And you don't have first aid, right?
I don't have any first aid.
Okay, hold up. Let's see what's stabilizing.
I'm gonna leave a trail of blood.
Good call. Is that a full round action, or is that a part?
Yeah, I think it is. It seems to be. Can't do anything else.
Okay. Let's see here.
I think stabilizing is, if I remember correctly, it's kind of it's automatic. I don't think there's a roll, but
Okay.
I can't.
Well, I know there's a
you can
first aid.
verify.
There is a first aid roll.
There is a first aid roll, but I think
Yeah.
that actually does more than binding, than stopping, than stabilizing. But we'll see.
Here we go. So if the only action is to bind the wounds, the injured character no longer loses a hit point each round, but neither does he gain any.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! So you got to get him back. So what you can do is you could stabilize Caldor. He is bleeding out from this pretty vicious, mauling that's happened from this thing. But you're able to stabilize it if that's your only action. You drop the battle axe and kind of staunch the wounds.
Yep.
Okay. Elanion, then
doing.
you can move. Your movement, I believe, is 40, and you could run. Is that right? Hold on.
I'm gonna grab my bow, though, my bow and arrows.
Okay, so I'll let you grab your bow, and then you could move half your move.
Okay.
So you can move 20.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool. That should be good for distance. Your range, I mean.
Okay. So there we go. And then I guess we're on to next round then. Bergour, you've stabilized him. Elanion, I'll let you finish your move. And then I think, Hobbs, you're now rolling initiative. Beat my 8.
There's absolutely no possible way I could fail at that.
Oh, nice.
Somewhere the dice gods are like, wait, what's going on?
Wait, what?
So I'm acting on an 11.
Okay. I just took another point. So I'm at -8. Just FYI, everybody.
Keepers. Elanion, what do you do? I think you're the closest, so let's just focus on what you're choosing to do this round.
I think I am going to run up on this guy and see what he's gonna do before I just start shooting at him.
You're
I
running.
can fire, right?
You're running up to see what he's doing. He's
I want to
grabbed.
see if I can drop him when I come up on him like that. And if he doesn't, then I'm going to shoot him with my.
Okay. So so why don't you move your character to where you're going to be? You can move half your move, and still shoot. Okay. So as you run over, I actually did roll morale for it, and I rolled an 18. So as you come running over, this thing yelps and goes running off, and you can see Knox is bleeding out.
Yep.
He looks pretty messed up. So,
Yeah.
would you? Let's see here.
Basically, they have 2 rounds until I'm dead.
I think
so
we're good. Yeah. So you'll hit
me.
-9 at the start of next round, and then Elanion will be able to get over to you and stop you on death's door.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome.
Holy smokes!
Yeah.
I gotta grab one thing. I want to do one thing here. One sec.
That was harrowing.
Well, and this is
For
with
me.
the nice rules that let you go to -10, because in the basic player's handbook, it's just you hit 0 and you die.
Yeah. And they specifically recommend using the hovering on death's door rules for this particular campaign.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It's deadly, very deadly. I don't think we ever play without going to -10.
Oh, that's way too punishing.
Yeah.
I do.
This is you.
Not
Well,
AD&D second edition, not second edition.
No, gotcha. But that makes sense to me that you
Yeah.
would play that way.
We give us a best see if you survive. So,
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, I remember that actually from when we played.
Yeah, like a roll the body type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Hobbs, for those listening at home, if you Hobbs runs a really fucking great old school sandbox. Actually, a couple of them now.
Yeah.
Right. When was the last time you ran Kalmata?
It's been quite a maybe like a week and a half. No,
Okay, that's
2 weeks or something like that, but very sporadically these days.
yeah. Are you focusing more on low fantasy gaming?
It seems like the people interested in playing right now are more low fantasy gaming people, just because I think they came from that Discord over there when Steve started posting all the shows. But
It's a great game, and the Steve, the creator, is a super great guy.
I just played low fantasy gaming with him yesterday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we went through one of his those dungeon things that he does that are small. I don't remember what he calls them. But we survived, me and another guy, and those rescue exploits, man, they can be pretty powerful compared to like a game like this.
Yeah, the rescue exploits in particular, because nobody takes any damage if you're successful.
Okay.
Was that on a stream, Hobbs? Like, can we watch that, or is that just was
Working on it? Yeah, I
Okay,
have
cool.
live streams that are LFG where we do that as well.
Yeah,
but he's
I've
doing,
watched some of those. Yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
he's doing his as well.
No,
that's
actually,
awesome.
Would
Cool.
you give me a D20 and a D6? So D20 plus D6 roll, please.
You say Knox or
Knox, please.
yeah, I thought so.
Oops. 1d6,
Yep.
and now 1d20.
Oh no,
5 and a 13.
you had to do the D20 first. Just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I explode.
Let's see your.
It's over.
Yeah.
Okay.
The multiverse says no.
What was that thing on The Witcher? The Law of Surprise or something? I invoke the Law of Surprise. Oh,
Yeah.
20 seconds. You cannot.
Totally.
Okay. Oh boy. Okay, so that means.
You guys might as well not even show
It's gonna be a heck of a cliffhanger here. We'll see who shows
Yeah.
up on Wednesday. You are grievously wounded.
Okay.
You die unless healed to 1 hit point within 10 minutes.
Oh,
Okay.
If you were healed, though, you will need 2 weeks of bed rest.
Wow.
That's because you were reduced to so low on the
Yeah.
hit points.
what rules?
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah, where's
god!
that from?
And one of your eyes is destroyed.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I know what he's using then.
Okay.
Oh, you do? What? No, what are... Yeah, I'm curious now. Where are those tables from?
Look at that up, probably.
Yeah. We'll talk about that afterwards.
Okay. all right.
Okay. So then, Caldor, would you kind of give me a D20 and a D6 roll as well?
All right.
What were you reduced to?
D20?
Minus
-2.
-2. Okay.
D20, 16,
Okay.
and D6 or D?
Yep.
Yeah. A 6.
That's 6. Give me another D6 roll.
Uh-oh. What if I don't want to?
Get the pick.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, 4.
4 fingers left.
Okay.
Right.
Unless you are healed to 1 hit point within 1 day, if you're not healed, you die. So you need to be healed within 1 day. And
Okay.
as a permanent wound, you've lost 4 teeth.
Jeez.
No, when you hit I don't think it bit your
God.
teeth out. I think when you fell down, it cracked 4 of your teeth out.
Man.
Holy shit. If this proves to be like just insanely punishing, we will not continue using these rules. Because that's, you know, a week's bed rest. Let's ignore that. Because for the purpose of this, like it does give people a chance to retrain, I guess, but not a lot of fun for you.
Can I retrain if I'm bed resting?
No.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so then I think with you so grievously wounded with that missing an eye, Knox,
Oh my god.
and Caldor having a bunch of his teeth knocked out, that's where we'll leave our session.
Perfect.
You guys hanging on Deathstork. Bergour?
Are we gonna do XP?
Fuck
Because-
yes, we're doing XP.
Excellent.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, how do we do XP once we hit a level threshold? Do we just stop there, or do we?
You just can't
get to
gain
keep
2
adding?
levels.
Hmm?
Until
So
you
you
get your
can't-
retraining, you can't gain 2 levels. So you keep on
Okay,
gaining
so
XP.
You keep gaining XP up to.
Up to 1 XP below, 1 point below what your next level would be. If you
Okay,
haven't trained
right.
it, like
So
for your character, you're level 1, you can get enough XP to get into just 1 point shy of 3.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, and then you'll need to retrain. Okay, so XP for today. Let's see here. Okay, that is, alright. Man, oh man, oh man! I blame your colleagues for having real-life issues bring you away.
That's right.
That was tricky. Okay, and I'll give you...
I can't complain. I missed quite a number of sessions, unfortunately. So it all is fair. They all missed the same one session,
Yeah.
and I bore the brunt of it. So that's fair. That works out.
Okay. So, let's see here. Oil, oil, oil. Citronella. Okay. Is there any points of Astonishing Fortune left?
1 point.
1 point, okay. Put that in the old pool there. For those listening at home, Astonishing Fortune is another optional roll that we use, or house roll we use from our Astonishing Swordsman and Sorceress of Hyperborea campaign. Allows them to re-roll a dice roll or just not die. I think that Knox is pretty darn close to actually cashing that sucker in.
Totally.
Okay. Remember, so those of you who are fighter classes, you guys defeated 8 hit dice of creatures. So 80 XP for the fighters. Jeff, you successfully used 1 thief skill as well too, so I think it's 100 XP you get for that, for your thief class.
Yeah, I have it written down here. Let's check.
And I don't know how if you would count this, Kev. I get 50 XP for casting a spell. I did that cantrip to try to ease that guy's up. That
50 XP for... Yeah.
it has, but it technically has to be used in, to.
No, that definitely added to the scene. I would totally
Okay.
allow that. And Elanion,
Okay.
you get the XP from casting your rock spell too.
Cool.
Okay, and
Time
then
to take armor as well, I think.
no, that was not in combat.
Okay.
Okay. Fuck it. No, I'll give you that as well too.
Nice. There you go, Knox. You have an armor spell.
Oh, awesome. I appreciate it.
Whose armor?
It's not gonna matter when I'm dead.
Yeah, so that means Knox, your armor spell has expired, and Elanion, did you take enough damage to make
Well,
yours?
actually, it has 1 point left.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah,
Thank God for you guys having such low hit points.
exactly. That's
Okay.
the problem.
Wow.
So yeah, it's technically still up with 1 hit point left. As soon as I get hit again, it's gone.
Okay, guys. So for tonight, this is before, if any of you have prime requisite bonuses, this does not include that, but the total is 184 XP for tonight.
Cool.
Pretty
So
good.
184.
Oh, you know what? Hold on. Make that 204 for each of you guys, plus your prime requisite bonus, because I forgot.
Right, and we always divide that by 2 and split it if we're multi-class.
If you're multi-class, yes, you divide that in half and add each, but your class-based XP bonus that you get, that applies only to the one class, and you don't have to have that.
Right.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
Woof, we are, there's going to be some cleaning up to do on Wednesday, holy smokes.
Yeah, to say
Those
the
two clerics in your party sure look a lot more valuable right now. Holy Dinah.
least. Yeah.
Cool. Well, then, for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for session 9 of our Night Below AD&D 2nd Edition campaign. Let me move ourselves back to the regular map here. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section below, and we will endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. Alternatively, you can find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Dungeon Musings. You can find me by email. My email address is dungeonmusings@gmail.com. And if you follow a link in the description of this video, you can follow can reach all of us on the Dungeon Musings Discord server. We have channels dedicated to all the games we run on the channel, including this campaign and every other campaign. And in addition to that, we've got Find a Game channels, we got a Play-by-Post channel, we got a Dungeon Dogs channel where we share pictures of our pets. So all sorts of stuff to engage with us on there. You can reach myself, and all the players are on there as well. In addition, if you enjoyed joining us or join us live for the session as well too, please be sure to click on subscribe and the bell icon to let us know when have YouTube let you know when we're going live. In addition, on Sunday nights, I always post the schedule for the upcoming week's sessions too, so you can find about that on the community tab of the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. In addition, there's also a link in the description of the video to something called Heroes Save Villages. That is the charity fundraising campaign that we run on the channel. It benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, which is a really great organization, active in over 130 countries, benefiting over 80,000 orphan and abandoned children. If you follow through to the link, you can see some of the rewards we have on offer. And all money that is donated goes directly to SOS Children's Villages International. None of it goes to the channel. None of it goes to any other middleman. It all goes to them helping out the kids who are provided safe and supportive and nurturing environments in which to actually be kids. And the situations that these children find themselves in, it's pretty fucking horrific. So it's a really terrific organization that really gives kids a chance at actually being kids. Last but not least, I want to thank my brave heroes. Venturing out, burying a birdman, learning how to train wild canines. George, Jeff, Arlen, and Hobbs, thank you so much for joining us for session 9, guys. I greatly appreciate you guys taking one for the team by venturing further into the hills. This is payback for the lampreys, I'm sure, Hobbs.
Knox took my payback.
Yeah.
That's right.
So then, for those listening at home, thank you again for joining us too. Until next time, we hope you enjoyed. We'll be back with this campaign on Wednesday night. And until we see you again, happy gaming.